Please be patient. I'm trying to be patient.
Get the crowd moving during Live Sound Month at Sweetwater. Check out exclusive deals all month long. Like this all-new Mackie Thrash 212 loudspeaker. Earn $30 in bonus bucks with purchase. Save up to $250.
I just thought I'd say this really quick because I don't know why y'all feel like I'm on y'all time. If you pay for a read, be patient. Sometimes you might get the read the same day, sometimes you won't. I go in order. I do a lot of reads, I give out a lot of advice. I, it's, I'm not, rush to use, don't do that. I'm using my gifts for a little, a little or nothing. Don't rush me to do no readings. I get to y'all every time is now. Sometimes it will be the next day, but I'm not gonna go over 2 days without giving you your read. If you're gonna be there that patient, then you should go to somebody else. I'm not hard up for no money at all. If you send me some money, I'll send this shit right back. It doesn't matter to me. Trust me, it doesn't matter to me. I do plenty of reads a day. I don't like rushing through a reads. I like to give.
Hello, everyone. This is Michael Rizzo Media here, and I am not very happy right now. So I need to get this off my chest because I heard some of the people keeps adding me on Messenger group chats without asking me first. So let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something to y'all out there. Don't add me to group chats without asking me first. And because when the people keeps adding me to group chats without my permission, I got so angry. And also, when they keep adding me to group chats, they keep on pestering me every single day to call. And I don't have time to video call on Messenger. I have a life outside of social media. Number one, I'm a busy guy playing video games. Number two, I was taking a nap, and y'all keep interrupting me while I'm busy. Because y'all keep adding me to groups without my permission and keep pestering me to video call. And not only that, y'all keep adding people to group chats without my permission.
Individual issues, but we have to imbalance, look at what's happening to the body and in the world and pray in that manner. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Right? Because the shaking is happening because why? The Lord is giving all authority and power over to his children, and the enemy wants to fight it. But he cannot once the children of God rise up, hallelujah, and do what we're called to do. Hallelujah. Right? And so the Lord says that I've given them this word, and they're not in the world anymore, for I am of the world. My prayer is not that you take them. This is key.
To be like, hey man, just what's it gonna hurt to really search these scriptures? But look at scientism. I mean, in Scientism Exposed, I put just a few clips in there. You got Lawrence Krauss sitting there saying, "Don't thank Jesus for dying. Thank the stars for dying for you. It's the stars you should thank." And if you look at the redemption story of scientism, the stars birthed us. And you get into Aleister Crowley, and everyone's a star, every man and woman is a star, and you start getting into the spiritual deep layers of this that I haven't even touched yet.
Your position yet?
Working on it.
What's taking so long? I thought you knew this place.
Don't try.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar. Today we have some interesting rabbit holes to go down. Ladies and gentlemen, a while back we talked about YouTube bots, right? Especially when it came to like some really off-color bots that were just basically talking about Jacksepticeye and a bunch of other people. And ladies and gentlemen, before that even, we talked about the Logan YouTube bot problem. The reality is YouTube has a serious bot problem that hasn't actually properly been dealt with. And while I'm trying to understand it and wrap my head around it and come up with some solutions, one of them being that maybe YouTube should implement an optional feature for creators to rely on two-factor authentication for commenting and whatnot. But even then, ladies and gentlemen, the bots that we're talking about today belong to the verified users. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this video, I would just want to really give a shout out to a channel known as The Cursed Judge. While I've been researching this, people send me Cursed Judge's channel, and Cursed Judge looks at an entirely different situation, one that I've also been looking into, but he does a bit of research and dives into this as well. So super awesome detective work, but let's get into the whole reality. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on every popular video, you're always probably going to go down into the comment section. You'll probably notice it in this video as well. There are always comments that float to the top of the pile that are always from verified users. You may notice that certain YouTube channels have a check mark to the right of them. That's because they're verified channels. At some point during a YouTube's lifespan, when it gets popular enough, they will eventually verify certain channels, okay, through a variety of means. Basically, when a channel is verified, it's a lot easier to spot when it comes into a pack of various other channels in the mix. So a lot of these channels will jump into random like comment sections, make a comment here and there, float to the top of the pile, and because a channel is verified, it is exponentially more likely for an average person to click on that channel and start to look at the content. But here's where the verified channels start to become a little weird when we're investigating them. So to give you guys a super example, I'm just going to use my channel in question, okay? So here is, my channel, Some Ordinary Gamers. If you go to video, you'll see that I have videos that, do well. Some videos pop off more than you could expect. But generally, the trick here is to find the video that you know is going to take over a certain section. So for one of them, it's Nintendo. Now, this video from 4 days ago that got over 500,000 views is titled, I Think Nintendo Has Gone Absolutely Insane. Keyword is Nintendo. Other keywords include Minecraft. Other keywords could include Roblox. Hey, other keywords could include Konami. I personally love the auto thumbnails that YouTube sets. So if it ever seems like that I'm just using these faces as thumbnails, it's because YouTube provides me such a good face for the thumbnail that I have to absolutely use it. So let's click on I Think Nintendo Has Gone Insane. So inside this video, if you scroll right to the comment section, you'll notice the first comment after my pinned comment is this channel called Bribe. Now, the reason I investigated this myself was I noticed 113 replies to it. Immediately to me, that almost seems like, hey, maybe it's another big creator. I like looking at other big creators who watch my content. So immediately I click on replies, and everyone's immediately going, that channel, that channel, that channel, that channel, that channel. It is entirely just that channel. In fact, this seems like botted comments to me too, because you're looking at a similar amount of likes for almost every single comment. It is the weirdest trend that I've ever seen. So when I clicked on Bribe's channel, I immediately noticed a channel with 109,000 subscribers, but surprisingly, a few videos. Okay, one of them was Who is Bribe? And immediately after that, you have the Anti-Dream Potion with 723 views. Zero IQ Minecraft Logic. No, actually, what is Zero IQ is why is a channel with 109,000 subscribers unable to crack 100 views in 12 hours? This is where we have to start looking even deeper, ladies and gentlemen, because what we've come across are channels that are ultimately verified with a giant check mark, but it seems like their post history doesn't actually make a whole heck of a lot of sense. One of the more popular channels that you may have also seen is something like Dan, who has 185,000 subscribers and a video from 2 months ago with 381,000 views. So immediately you go to their video section, and then right after it, I do not subbot proof. To which I want to look at their proof real quickly. Inside the proof, they actually showcase that in certain cases, they actually gain a lot of views at certain points. And well, they're actually showing subscribers in this graph, but they gain a lot of subscribers randomly. Like one day they're making 1 subscriber, and all of a sudden they're making close to 100,000 subscribers. Okay, I don't know if this necessarily proves the point, but like, god damn, there is no form of trend going on. They also showcase video views for the month too. Where in this month it seems, or sorry, in this specific day, they're going by days. This one like a day, they get like almost 2.3 million views. How the fuck 2.3 million views entirely converts to like what was it, 100,000 subs gained that day, almost 100,000 subs, is very questionable to me. I'm going to sit here and call some slight shenanigans. This is the weirdest growth that I've ever seen on a channel. But then there are also channels known as dark that you may have noticed commenting on pages, to which their first thing is, why am I in so many comments? And this is like literally the post history. It's not that these channels make any meaningful content. They literally will just show up in the comment sections of various trending like pieces and immediately just type in whatever witty comment, or sometimes they'll copy a comment and it'll float them to the top, which means they grow literally by leeching off of the comment sections of the actual creators on the platform. For instance, if we go back to Bribe real quickly, you'll immediately notice that as soon as we like open up the channel, it's literally just like these anime PFP profile. Like these people are literally just sitting down and like they make a quick little commentary video for people who land on their page and telling them who they are. Basically, they're just a YouTube commenter who's gotten verified, and they'll talk about, hey, has my channel been botted? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep going down the rabbit hole. Find channels like Risky. Again, 152,000 subscribers. And guess what? They only have one video. Who is Risky? It's like there's so many similarities going on. Even on my newest video, Rockstar Game keeps leaking my IP address, which was literally uploaded 10 hours ago. If you click onto that video and go all the way down, you'll find out that I've got channels like Santa showing up. Now, Santa, as compared to like channels like Eskizzle-Axe, if you open up Eskizzle-Axe, is an actual content creator with 176,000 subscribers, uploading content about, TikTok, Squid Game, and Battlefield. Real legitimate content creator with a history of actual content that they've made. You click on Santa, and Santa is one of those people with 322,000 subscribers, but of course they're a little different than the other channels in that their first video is, who is evil? Again, it brings you back. It's the same starting point. And then they start making more videos like, I am everywhere. I have an addiction. We are taking over the comments. Important announcement. This needs to stop. I'm quitting YouTube. They never did. I got exposed. Deleting later. Ooh, god damn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into Santa real quick, we have to start looking at like what some of these channels' growth patterns are. Now, I'm going to show you what my channel looks like. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I look at my channel real quickly, you'll notice that there's a trend to how channels grow. For instance, in a month where I get 28 million video views, you'll notice
like a case of fly laid an egg on it or something.
Gained to around 130,000, 150,000. See, if you look at this very closely, you'll see as the graph goes down, the subgrowth starts to go down. The more video views you get overall, usually for every view, for every like a certain amount of views, subscribers will start to carry over. The more people watch your videos, the more people eventually start subscribing to you. This is what a normal channel growth looks like, okay? You'll see it across every other creator channel out there. It's sort of a pattern that you can immediately start picking up on. For instance, if we go look at Bribe again, ladies and gentlemen, Bribe is one of those channels where back in the day they had negative 2 million video views, 745,000, 417, negative 1 million. And then, of course, they're making like 65,000 video views, negative 3,000 video views, 1,000 video views, negative 114,000. But if you look at their sub counts, 0 subs gained, 2,000, 0, negative 1,000. So it's almost like YouTube is kind of correcting their sub counts. It's just a weird trajectory to look at. Now, where the story gets really fun and the goatsy starts to begin is this channel named Santa, also known as Evil, we just looked at it not too long ago, has been linked to a website where, I'm not going to link you the website or anything, I'm not going to show it to you. Frankly, I don't want to draw attention to it, but it's been linked to a website where the entire premise is buying and selling social media accounts. Now, to understand the channels that we basically did a gauntlet through right now appear to be view botted or sub botted or something's going weird, okay? Basically, you have channels where they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, verification badges applied, but literally their content history is almost non-existent. Maybe at some point they had some viral banger videos, and all of a sudden they've been privated. And now it seems like these channels are just sitting dormant with verification badges popping up in every other creator's like comment sections, basically leeching off of them. Now, Santa and Evil in this case, if we look into this one website where, again, it's all about buying and selling social media services, and if it's buying and selling social media services, there seems to be a lot of weird botting going on. And allegedly. Now, if there is botting, I don't have to tell you that this is skirting the TOS pretty hard. If not skirting the TOS, smashing into it and breaking it through like no tomorrow. And it's not just YouTube's TOS this has an issue with. It's Instagram, it's TikTok, it's any social media platform. No one likes a bot, okay? Just putting it out there. Now, Santa and Evil have been tied to this one user on this website where they're actually selling accounts. And if you look at the values, so what they're actually referring to is an account verified as Lucky. Lucky is the name, 107,000 is the subscriber count, and verified is the big giant tick onto the right of it. So again, if we go back and look at this account called Lucky, it actually takes us to this 108,000 subscriber account, right? So this is the Lucky account, verified and everything. If you go to the About section for Lucky, it's the Lucky Promotional Network is a dedicated team of talented individuals who take
She had to sell the
creation
camper.
to the next level. We are
Yeah.
a small, dedicated team that aims to cover
She
all
sure did.
aspects of entertainment and abroad.
Had to get rid of that
We
sucker.
hope to see you around and enjoying the content in the future. Now, if you
Oh,
look
she
at the
sold it
bottom,
all
they have
right.
An Instagram and a Twitter. It's
Get to a fucking
hilarious. We're gonna go to
scrapyard.
the Twitter real quick. It's twitter.com/military. Again, it's all these like generic names.
Brand new
You go to the
camper.
military Twitter account, and yeah, it's
How much you want to make it back
12,000
sold to a scrapyard?
12,000 follower account that can muster about 15 likes. God bless, 9 likes, 7 likes. Yeah, it doesn't seem botted whatsoever. But ladies and gentlemen, this is all about NFTs. Look, I'm not trying to make NFTs or crypto look bad. It's just every time you find something sketchy like this, these people are always pushing JPEG somewhere. Information security analyst and marketing specialist, NFT holder, and crypto freak. Yeah, I bet you really want to buy a channel off of the information security analyst. What relation does this have to the Lucky account? I don't know. But it seems like Lucky, if I'm getting it right, was sold by this user on this forum thread right here. What's also wild here is that they're also like, I can promote your Discord/channel on a 255K Minecraft niche YouTube for financial compensation. Again, it's just YouTube promo that they're selling. Let's go look at that channel in question. They got the whole URL right there. That channel leads to F, which is another verified channel, 260K subs. For every sub, I'll give 0 to charity. At least they're honest. You'll also notice F has a weird history as well. When you look at their URL, it says they're literally Purple Tracks. And if you look at Purple Tracks' Social Blade, yeah, at one point, they fucking deleted 209 million video views. That's not too long ago, ladies and gentlemen. At some point, these people were earning 15,000 subscribers, 11,000. Bro, they've got a weird trajectory. You always see this weird amount of 3,000 subs gained, 2,000 subs gained. This is a weird situation for a channel that's consistently getting 3 million video views, 3 million, 3 million, 2 million, 1.5, kind of dropping here. But yeah, this is like a lot of views for very little subscriber gain. Again,
Oh yeah, okay, so
the symptomology
I'm gonna show you all these.
all of these channels. But what I think is
Okay,
the most
there's
damning evidence in all
that's
this,
like a,
ladies and gentlemen, is this post right
it's actually
here.
like a sliver. It looks like a,
I got 312. How
then
to
there's
pop
this
off
one
on
on my
Spotify, first of all. Oh, God,
wrist
I
right
wish I
here.
could get barely
This one I
sexual
think
on
is
this dude.
weird.
That guy has a lot to say. Anyways, I got
Right,
320K on
here.
YouTube. Santa here's got 322K at the moment. This actual
That one's
thread
weird.
is from 10/17.
Got that scratch right
2021,
there.
October 17. So literally,
Right
like
there.
4 days ago, we're building this. And I ended up having
I
a
got
song
one
me and my collective made.
right
Hit
there.
32.8K on Spotify. However,
I didn't always ever used to get any scratches everywhere.
So, like, how do
I know
get my
there's
joint
more.
to
Oh,
hit that
there's this one on
Spotify
this finger
algorithm?
right here.
Just low-key give me some
Right
tips.
there.
YFM. I'm
Then there's this one, like right here on my wrist, like right by where the other one is. There's this one.
Now, Santa here has a good old Spotify link. If you click on Santa's Spotify link, you can find out, wow, they actually
This one.
do have 4 songs running around. And
Right.
unfortunately, only 2 of them have passed 1K.
Anyway,
Yes, Lame Bitch has
that's
passed
right
1K, and
here.
Cohen Superiority
And it's
has passed 1K. In fact, Cohen
that is like a
Superiority's view
sliver,
count looks
and
suspiciously close to
the one on
32.8
this right
thousand.
here, that's a sliver.
If you're going to be this upfront on this forum
Oh, there's a
thread, you might
scratch
as
right
well
there.
just put your actual YouTube channel
There's a
right
scratch right
into here.
there.
Just put
Oh,
that
there's a
out
scratch
there.
on my
Now,
neck
you might be going, but Nuda, why would they buy these random channels?
right
Why are
here,
they buying and selling
right here.
this to begin with? Ladies and gentlemen,
And I'm all
Cohen
bruised
appears to be
under
an
here. So
absolute
bad.
genius in lockbox and officially.
I'll find
What
more.
has actually been
And I'll
transpiring
show
for
you.
now is, ladies and gentlemen, when you have that verification sticker, these guys,
But I don't
who, like,
touch
the people,
anything
the
that would make me
suckers
have
who go to these like
slivers
bot sellers,
everywhere
these like sellers on these
and
websites that buy
scratches
these channels
everywhere.
for hundreds of dollars, in
And
some
then that
cases
thing right
over
here on my
1,000,
wrist, that's a
get
little
a channel with
really
a
weird to
verification
me.
sticker. They can then
So I
use
don't
that
have
channel and
anything
jump
on
into
my
comment sections of actual YouTube
elbow,
creators, basically leeching
you
off
know,
of
my
their
elbow
subscriber
things.
bases. They then build a community, and when they start releasing content, they're already exponentially at a leg above actual YouTube creators who get suppressed and buried by the algorithm. Truly, it's disgusting, and truly, we as a community should not stand for it. It's wrong, it's messed up, and it's absolutely something that YouTube has the power to stop and the power to control. Why they haven't done it, I have no clue. Now, in some cases, I want to also go on a side note. There are certain creators that have actually been associated with, like, talking to people of an age that they probably shouldn't. And that's where I'm going to kind of leave it at. I'm actually going to leave you back to the beginning of this video, the start, which is our good old friend, the Cursed Judge. You should actually check out his channel as well and get the actual coverage as well from his end, because he covers things that I don't. I actually wanted to cover this. I wanted to deep dive on my own into all the various sources and really get the idea of how this botting situation was working. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, when you see the wave of verified comments inside a YouTuber's comment section, do the extra due diligence and check if that commenter, that verified commenter at all, is an actual channel making actual content, or if it's just somebody gaming the system. Because this is unfortunately something that we have to deal with. So ladies and gentlemen, this was the verified commenter rabbit hole. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
In a previous video, I looked at the
I
apparently
wonder
out of
where
control
my brother's at.
bot comments on YouTube. In particular,
I
comments
wonder
promising
why I
Bitcoin
haven't
related
received
get-rich-quick
any
schemes,
information about
which are of course
anything.
scams. That video itself had the word
Because, like, if
Bitcoin
he's
in
just
the
trying
title,
not to
and
talk to
naturally the
me,
video
somebody
attracted
needs to
a huge
fucking let
further
me know,
influx of bot
okay?
comments. So we're going to dig
You
into
would
that
think somebody
a bit
would
today.
have by now. I'm not a fucking stalker, but I do want my fucking money from the
First, let me tell you
treasury.
about my attempts
And
to
I would
scam
like to
the two
talk to my
scammers that we
brother.
saw being sung
I'd
praises
like to
in
get
those
together
ridiculous
with
shill
him and let
comment
him
threads
know,
in the
you know,
last
like
video.
there's a
So
fucking
Randy
problem
Burton and
happening
Mr.
here.
Anthony Phillip.
But I mean,
Both of
like,
those
for some
comment threads
reason,
had
I
only a
feel
WhatsApp
like,
contact number as their payload, and there's no way I'm going to use my own personal
I don't
number
know,
for scam baiting.
he's
So I
sold
picked up a burner
fucking,
sim, blew the dust off an old mobile phone I once
he's
reviewed in
sold
a
out
video,
somehow.
and set myself up ready to chat with these scammers. They both promised to have some magic investment skill that enables them to multiply their victims' money in a very short time. Now, before we go any further, let's just have a quick reality check. If someone really did have a working and reliable get-rich-quick scheme,
So the
they simply
police
wouldn't need to
did a
make money by
welfare
selling
check.
it as a commissioned service to
They
anyone
took a
else.
missing
If it
persons
worked, they
report
would already have
after
money.
they told me to
And they
take.
could just
They told
reinject
me
that as starting
that I
capital
needed
in
to
the
make a
next
missing
round instead
persons
of asking
report,
for your
so
money.
I did.
So, in case you or someone you know happens to be clinging to some faint notion that somewhere out there there's a real version of this, a real investor just waiting to run their
no
get-rich-quick
word
scheme
from
on your
Kendra.
money,
She just
let
said,
go of
"That's
that
cool."
idea. It isn't going to happen because it doesn't make a
That's
lick
cool.
of sense. At least if it did exist, it wouldn't appear in the form of unsolicited, gushy praise on internet comments. Anyway, I decided to pretend to be a retired person with a fat stack of cash ready to invest. Now, what's a good made-up name for someone like that? I know, my name is Billy Greenfold. So I contacted each of these scammers. My intent was to scam bait them and mess them around, which I did to a certain extent. But it's very clear that scammers who operate with instant messaging as their preferred communication method simply don't have the patience that we've seen before with email-based scammers. Anyway, there were a few interesting moments. Mr. Anthony Phillip revealed himself to be a Nigerian man. Both when he video called me, I wasn't ready for that, and because I was working in WhatsApp web with the phone face down on the desk, he couldn't see me, but I could see him and the scenery of the street he was standing in, which I instantly recognized as West African. Later on, he used the word alaye in the chat, which is a Yoruba word that loosely translates to dude or homie in English. Scammers apparently drop this word into the conversation as a shibboleth to try to reveal if the person they're chatting with is another scammer. This actually happened after I opened up a window to Cleverbot, an online chatbot, and spent a little bit of time just proxying the conversation, so the scammer was actually talking to Cleverbot, towards the end of which the scammer lost his patience a little and swore at me. I also just asked Sir Randy Burton a whole load of incoherent questions, some of which he tried to answer, but for the most part, these scammers were very focused and persistent on just driving the conversation forward towards their goal. And in summary, that goal was for me to sign up at a supposed Bitcoin investment website. And I didn't even go as far as that. And the reason is partly because the absurdly unprofessional terms and conditions were a huge red flag, and also because of this little detail here on the sign-up page, upline. That word upline is a dead giveaway that this website is a pyramid scheme. So the idea is going to be that you make your money not by the sort of investment mechanics that stock market investors employ for profit, buy high, sell low, something like that anyway, whatever. But no, this thing works as long as you can sign up more people in your downline. Your money goes to the person in your upline who invited you, in this case, the scammer, and you get double or triple your money back when you sign up 2 or 3 people in your downline. Simple, except it's usually just a straightforward scam that exists solely for the benefit of the people at the top, i.e. the scammers. And even when it's not an outright and deliberate scam of that kind, it's mathematically impossible for a pyramid scheme to succeed for very long. If you start out with one person, and that person invites 3 people, and they also invite 3 people each, and so on, by the 20th generation of this process, you've run out of people on the planet by a considerable margin. In point of fact, I'm not entirely convinced that the people I was dealing with were the primary layer of scammers, or if they themselves might be victims who've been suckered into a scam and are trying to recruit downline in a scheme that isn't even designed to work. So for that reason, I didn't really want to push the scam baiting any further. Apart from that, they just kind of vanished. The WhatsApp accounts changed from business to non-business, whatever that means. The profile pic disappeared and they stopped responding anyway. Maybe they blocked me, maybe their accounts got shut down. I don't know. But we're not done yet. Remember I mentioned that I got lots of shill comments on the previous Bitcoin scams video? Well, these were different, and they were all recommending the spurious services of various hackers. Let's take a look at a few examples. I baited a large number of these scammers to try to get a feel for what they're doing, including any exceptions. There were none. They all had the same MO. We'll look at 5 specific examples, which I have anonymized, simply because their intent in creating these comments was exposure, and I don't intend to assist with that exposure one bit. So these are scammers: brown, white, blonde, blue, and orange. Nobody wants to be scammer pink, am I right? And again, here we need a reality check, just in case there's anyone out there who might be harboring some faint hope that these supposed hacking services, advertised in unsolicited, glowing random comments, are sometimes real. They are not. They are scammers who specialize in scamming people who've already previously been scammed, which, apart from obviously being utterly morally depraved, is probably quite productive. I think it's probably a statistical fact that someone who's just been scammed once and is still unsure what just happened is particularly vulnerable to being scammed a second time by someone who falsely claims they can undo the previous damage. In a moment, we'll look at what these scammers actually do when you contact them. But first, a few example spam comments. So one thing these shill comments all had in common was their gushy tone of emotional relief, again designed to play to the emotions of someone who's been scammed and who is in need of relief themselves. Another thing that was common but not universal is that the comments appeared in paired identical duplicates 1 minute apart. And if you were still clinging to hope that some of these might possibly be genuine, how can you explain this happened over and over? Random people who don't know each other posting 2 and only 2 identical, gushy, unsolicited recommendations for a hacker on Instagram. If this isn't the markings of a mechanism such as a bot, I don't know what is. And many of them opened with a sentence that could be interpreted as a compliment to the creator of the video they were posted on. I'm guessing this is so that YouTubers hungry for more viewer engagement might leave the comments up because they said something nice. Very often, the comments have just weird language or phrase. For example, this one here says, "For the first time in life, I felt like I should do something to stop the flow of time. Scammer Blonde, it's just a wonderful experience. Thanks for your time." Or this pair of identical comments saying, "I found Bob's comment about Scammer Blue. Can't believe I just got the Bitcoin amount I wanted." So why doesn't YouTube just do something about all these bot comments that are directing people to contact scammers? Well, I imagine they probably are doing something, although it feels like it might not be enough. One thing that might be making this harder for them is that these bots don't just paste recommendation comments. They also post these structured word salad comments. You might have seen these, and they also post stuff that's just copied and pasted from other comments. All of which I'm fairly sure is being done just to make these accounts harder to automatically filter out.
That's a good one.
Anyway, let's take a look at what happens when you try to connect these hacker services. For this, I'll need a new Instagram account and a new character. Well, maybe a familiar name, Monica Fan. Monica Monica's
And he's
profile
not
pic
related
came
to
from
me,
this
by the
person
way.
does
By
not
the way,
exist
Brent
.com.
is
And I
very
should
much
say, for the
not
purposes
fucking
of this
related to me.
investigation, I have framed Monica as a recent
I
victim
am
of
not
romance
fucking
scam,
related to him.
as well as having below average
He's not a
literacy
blood
skills and
relation at
intelligence.
all.
I want to make it abundantly clear, this is not a characterization of scam victims in general. If you've been a viewer of my channel for any amount of time, you should already know that I don't believe susceptibility to scams is as simple as some people like to say stupidity. I don't believe that. No. Monica is presented in this way not as a characterization of victims, but as a victim character. In other words, I want to lure these scammers by offering them a tempting, juicy, vulnerable, soft target. And that's the whole reason why Monica is as she appears to be in the conversations you're about to see. So Monica actually contacted a couple of dozen of these fake hackers on Instagram, and here's what happened in a few of those conversations. Notably, every single one of them opened with the same line: "You're welcome to my platform.
For a
How may I
reason.
help you?" I don't know if this indicates some sort of automation or maybe just a script that they're all using. I told them all that I'd given 15k to a soldier in Afghanistan who said he loved me. I explained that I paid via MoneyGram on more than one occasion for flight tickets, passport stuff, and medicine. Then my soldier lover boy, whose name was incidentally John Warosa, had stopped responding to me. All of the scammers promised they could recover my money. So if one were
Yeah, my
required,
grandma's
this should be the
handwriting.
final nail
My
in
grandma
the coffin
Hanson's
of credibility for these
handwriting.
people. They're claiming they have skills which they can employ
Unfortunately.
to reverse a MoneyGram cash transfer transaction. This is the reason why I gave them
I
this
don't know if
specific
it's copy
story. I
pasted.
wanted to see if they would promise they can fix a problem that they well and truly
Yeah, I
cannot
think it's
fix.
copy pasted.
About half
Maybe.
of
I
them
don't
immediately
fucking
launched
know.
into what is a frankly laughable display of
I do
supposed
know
hacker
she
skills.
fucking broke
Scammer
into my
Orange
dad's
promised
house
that he
with
could
my
reverse the
grandpa.
transaction and get Monica's romance scammer arrested, and promised he was 100% legit.
My
Scammer Blue said he
grandmother
could trace the transaction just from John
helped
Warosa's email
Bernie
and get the money
break
back. He
into
also
my
promised he could
dad's
access
fucking
John
house
Warosa's
while he
mailbox
was at
and delete some
work
embarrassing photos Monica had sent.
to dig for
Of course, the
financial
John Warosa
information.
email address I gave the scammer was one of my own scam baiting identities, so I would be able to see if they
My
tried contacting
dad
him, and of course if they managed to hack
never
the mailbox,
recovered
which I
from
never
that
actually
one.
feared for one moment. Scammer Blue told me we had to buy
He
some software
never
licenses to
recovered
infect the
from that
romance
blow.
scammer's computer. Not sure how that's supposed to reverse a MoneyGram cash transfer, but
Emotionally.
whatever. I asked if it was a fixed price.
Because
The
he
scammer
loved
said it
my
was strong
grandma.
software and could only be sold with strict regulation. I said I couldn't afford the fixed
But
price.
he had a
The scammer caved and
disdain
asked for less. Scammer Orange wanted
for
to
them
switch to
after
WhatsApp,
that.
saying that Instagram
That
is not safe for this kind of job. I
he
asked
was
if we were being
polite
watched. The
about
scammer confirmed that
with
Instagram
me
officials
because he
were
knew that
monitoring
was
the
wrong. But
conversation. So I suggested we just
or
ask them
wasn't.
nicely to stop
It
monitoring.
wouldn't have been
And
wrong
that
for
seemed to
him.
fix the
But
problem. With Scammer White, I made loads
he
of
did
deliberate
not.
typos,
Yeah,
then
he
explained I was
wasn't a real
upset.
good fan.
Scammer
Any
White
family
reassured me
members.
and told me that my romance scammer had done this out of
None of
wickedness.
them. He
I think
didn't
my
like my
irony meter
family
actually broke at that point.
at all.
And assured me that he could get the money back, demonstrating his advanced hacker skills with
He was
this
really nice about it
screenshot.
though.
Impressive for sure, but this was going to cost me $1,000 to buy a UR restore
But
mode. I said that's more than all the money I have.
my
And so the
dad's
scammer
friends,
conceded
some of his
to just
friends
take
are
all
aware
of
of
the
it.
money I
Like,
have instead of the 1,000. So kind.
every single
thankfully.
person me and my dad have
The
ever
scammer then
known
proceeded to try
has
several
betrayed
ways to
us.
get me to
So
pay, starting with PayPal. The email
none of my
address for
dad's
this begins
friends
with
were
an
his
African
friends.
name and jerky.
Because if
I'm
they were,
actually fairly sure that most of these scammers
they
are
would
either
have tried to
operating
help me a
directly
long
out of
time
the same
ago.
places as my regular email-based crowd. That is
None of my
mostly West
dad's
Africa.
friends were
Or it may
actually
actually be
his
that the
friends.
scammer is elsewhere, and all of
Because
the payment
if
contacts
they
they gave
were,
me are just money
they would
in
not
West
be
Africa.
fucking just
Hard to
standing
tell,
by.
but there are a few other hints here and there. I
They
made up
would
a
have at
story
least
about
sent me
problems
fucking
with PayPal sign-up,
$5.
and the scammer asked for Bitcoin. I pleaded complete ignorance on that topic,
They're
and
not
the scammer
friends.
asked for gift cards, which gave me the opportunity to ask if the scammer was a gamer, like, you know, a small boy or something. The scammer assured me
You
this
talk
was
as
not
much
the
shit
case.
as you want.
Scammer Blonde was in a
You can
real
keep talking
urgent
shit
rush
all
to get
day. I
Monica
don't
to the
really
point of pay,
care.
breezing through the opening conversation with only a brief pause to ask why she was mistyping money.
Your guys'
Then trying
party is
multiple times to initiate a
over.
password, which wasn't going to work as I was only logged in via the
Your
browser.
party's
After I
over.
messed around for a bit more, Scammer Blonde said Alaye, indicating a probable location of Nigeria, then demanded my phone number. Really,
I hate
pushy
to tell
this one,
you.
and I expect the intention was to be even more pushy and persuasive on the phone. I argued
And
said
I got
maybe I
2
should try
fire
Scammer Blue.
extinguishers in my hands
Scammer
and a
Blonde told me to
fucking
get out of the DM and then blocked me. Scammer Brown said we needed to purchase an
a
activation
real
code
fucking
software.
for sure
Costing
fire
just
way to take care of you
$650.
too.
I said I was also talking to Scammer Blue and maybe would come
Yeah.
back later to haggle. I said Scammer Blue offered a better
I'll
price
turn it
for the
into
job.
the
Then
OK
Scammer Brown
Corral, and if
accepted
you
my
light the
suggestion
place
of
on fire, I
$300.
got 2
Hey,
fire
less than half
extinguishers
price
right
stands.
here.
Scammer Brown asked for payment via Bitcoin. I said
And
I
the
could
whole
do it,
world
so the
knows
next
that
option
you're
was
gonna
Western
fucking
Union.
think about
Pay
trying it.
details were from someone in Nigeria, and I said I'd
The
send
whole
money
world
via
is
lunchbox.
aware
Of
that
course, I had
you
no
may
intention of
be
sending
trying
anything.
to make a
Later on, I
bomb
came back and said
or
that the
a
Western Union
fire.
had advised me not to send money to scammers.
And the whole world is
The scammer then
aware that you're trying to kill me. And I'm pretty sure the whole world's aware that my brother's missing.
The scammer suggested a
And
service. I rambled on a bit about sending the payment via
it
wire
looks
mail. Then the
suspiciously
scammer fell back to the idea of gift cards. So I left it a while, then came back with a story that I'd looked for
similar
a value 300 unspecified currency units.
to what
and on
you
finding none,
think you want to do
I
to
asked
me.
for advice, then told the people in the store what it was for, and they had warned me not to do it.
My
Said the
fucking
people in the store
mom,
said
dude.
Scammer Brown was probably some kind
What
of
an
gamer kid, you know, a
unbelievable
small boy.
person.
Scammer Brown got a bit agitated about this and started making
Unbelievable.
mistakes. First asking
Her
me
and
if I was
Kelly.
getting the cars.
Wow.
I
Deneen.
explained I don't have a car. I use
Fucking
the bus.
Deneen.
Then
You
he asked me if
dirty
I was getting the
fucking rotten
calls.
bitch.
I
She's
said,
always
what
afraid she's
calls?
gonna
You mean
go to
like
hell.
red stripe?
Deneen, you're going to fucking hell.
Scammer
You've had
said no.
plenty of time
Then
to
just
fucking.
decided I would promise to pay at
She
some
always
future
hints
point,
around
but
that she's
keep
gonna
on
say
moving further
something
into the
or
future.
gonna
Tomorrow?
let the
No.
cat out of the
Wait,
bag.
Monday?
Deneen,
Oh,
if
no,
you're gonna
actually
fucking,
Tuesday,
if you think you're
because
gonna get
Monday's
away
bank
with
holiday,
shit
and
by
so
telling
on.
on people, you better start
Some
now
say
because there's
Graham
people
still
that are
extended
ahead
that
of you
deadline
already
even
doing
then.
it.
I did a similar thing
You're
with
gonna
Scammer
want to
Blue.
get
Then
in
I
on the
thought it might be
ground
fun to
floor of
start a
this,
conversation
Deneen,
about
and you ain't
recommendations
got
in
no
comments,
time
let's say,
left, so
on
you
YouTube.
better
I
fucking
said I
do
was
it
just
now.
looking at the comments about you on YouTube. Most of
Because
them
you're
say very
toast
similar.
if you
Then there's
don't.
one comment that says
They
you
ain't
set a
gonna
woman
give a
on
shit.
fire. Why do you do that?
You
The
wait
scammer
any
said, on
longer,
fire?
Deneen,
How do
you're
you
gonna
mean?
have nothing to
I
fucking
said you
tell.
set fire to a woman and killed her to death. Why would you do that? The scammer asked, where did you get that
You
from?
might
I
be able
replied,
to
a comment
fucking
about you on YouTube.
show a
Scammer
sign
asked
of
for a screenshot.
remorse
I pretended I didn't know how to do that, but what it said was,
at
Scammer
this
Blue
point
set fire to my maternal aunt
and
using a
tell on
propane
everybody,
torch.
but
While she was still
you wait
ablaze, he
much
froze my
longer
uncle
then.
in liquid nitrogen and smashed him into
There,
a million pieces
there
like a
ain't gonna
glass
be nothing
figurine.
left to tell
Also, his hacking skills are not even that great. He only recovered
in
a
your
tiny
fuck.
fraction of Bitcoin for me, which was less than his fee. I made a loss. 2 out of 10. Would not recommend. The scammer protested, hey, look
She's
here,
a
I
very,
don't know where
very
you're getting this
pathetic
from,
individual.
but I have never had a face contact with a client, let
Deneen
alone do
is
stuffs like
very
that.
pathetic.
I said, why would they say that? And then weirdly, the scammer
Very
switched to small
disgusting.
talk, asking me, hey,
Very
Monica, what are you up
disgusting.
to? I said,
And would somebody
talking to
please
you
take
about
the
the woman
voodoo
you booked.
doll
The
of
scammer said,
me that
LOL,
she
I know what
has
you're trying to do, woman.
away from her,
Then blocked
please?
me. Meanwhile, Scammer Orange was getting impatient and asked, are you ready for the job now? I said, I'm worried about some of the negative comments. Scammer Orange replied, what comments? Are you working
Spray
for the comment
paint it
or you mean my
brown
service? I said,
and
I
write
don't
her
understand.
name on it
The
for me,
scammer said,
please.
look, if you don't trust who you're working with, then try someone else. You made me start a job, and you're yet to make payment so I can complete it.
She's a
What
jealous
nonsense.
fucking
Why would
bitch.
you do this in the first
Deneen
place
is
if you don't want me
super
to help
fucking
you out?
jealous. She's just
Send you a video,
disgusting.
proofs of me.
She was
Try
bragging
someone
on
else if you
Facebook
can't get
that
it,
she
then come to me and
stole
see
a
miracles.
fucking bus pass
I
from
said,
me
okay.
and went
I'll
and
try someone
donated
else.
it to a
They
homeless
replied, you
person.
better do, because you're about to lose the
You
money
are a
I'm seeing
fucking
you already.
retarded cunt,
I said,
Deneen.
wow, that's not very nice. Why are you so nasty?
Fucking disgusts me.
Scammer Orange said, I
That
started
bitch
a job.
fucking disgusts
You
me.
won't
She
let me
watched
finish
me
it. After
fucking.
all effort, only for you
Deneen
to come and
watched
talk
me
about
fucking
negative comments.
suffer
What about
so
the positive
fucking
comments you
bad,
saw?
dude. And
Why do
fucking you
nasty?
sick,
I explained,
fucked
I don't
up
think it
bitch. You're
matters.
going
One
to
of the
fucking
negative
hell.
comments
You're gonna
said
rot
you
in
sent
fucking
someone a
hell
human
for
head in a
eternity,
box.
Deneen.
Why would you do that?
For
The
eternity,
scammer
you
appeared to find
fucking
this
sick,
funny. He
dumb,
said, it's no
fucked up
laughing matter
bitch.
to cut off a person's head. You should be ashamed. The scammer said, please, I guess you're not okay. You need to see a doctor. Praying hands emoji. Then blocked me. As I say, I had
Denise
conversations similar
Albers.
to these with a couple of dozen
That's
scammers in
Deneen
total, and
Bivens.
they were all very similar. They all promised they could do something
Take a
which
look
is
at
flatly
Denise
impossible.
Albers'
Outing
financials.
themselves as fakes, of course. They all
That's
boasted
actually
about their hacking
Deneen
skills with the
Bivens.
use of laughable jargon.
And
Fake
Kamala
hacker
Shirley
screenshots.
Bivens is
They all tried
also
to rapidly push the
Deneen
conversation towards
or a
payment of a
family
fee or a
member of
software license
Deneen's.
or whatever. They all wanted payment for a
Sick,
Bitcoin gift
disgusting
cards or when I
motherfucker.
pushed hard MoneyGram, for which they gave me pay
That
addresses
stupid
in West
fucking
African
bitch.
countries, with one
Crystal.
exception in Colombia. I'm
Fucking
not
this
sure to what
bitch out
extent
here,
these
this
scammers can be
scrawny
baited,
bitch. All these
is their
people
impatience
impersonating
combined with
me.
the immediacy of the
You
direct
fucking
messaging chat
sick fuck.
conversation
Some
just makes
bitch
it
named
difficult to
fucking
craft
Jamie.
really absurd, funny conversations. Maybe I just need to practice
Jamie,
that. I'd like to finish by saying 3 things. Well, more like 2.5. Firstly, if you or someone you know has been scammed recently, you need to be incredibly careful to guard
everybody
against the
knows
sort
who
of
she
false
is,
hope
and
that these
everybody
fake
knows what the
hackers and
fuck
fake
the
recovery
dumb bitch is
experts are
fucking
pretending
doing.
to offer. They are not real. And whilst it's true that
Everybody
genuine
knows
recovery and
all of
anti-hacking
these people are
experts do
doing.
exist, for example, like
Look up my family member names online. Go to my Ancestry account and look at all the people that are shown as related to me. You're going to find common last names that are very very common names in this town. You're going to find some last names listed that I am not related to. I'm not related to any black people in this town. So if you see any names like that, those people are stealing money from me. Okay? I don't have any relatives. My family is so fucking small, it's not funny. The only relatives that I'm related to, for real, are the ones that are DNA connected. And then maybe not even then.
It won't stop any completely new ones, but it does work well for gathering up any that are recommended.
Yep, Fritz was going to kill himself. He was just going to fake
Finally,
himself
that is
out
second in the
and
hierarchy.
not even tell
If you're one of those
anybody
people who
anything and
insist
just
on
let
arguing
me
that, well,
suffer.
actually, respectable
Unbelievable.
hacking services exist, and
He
they're
has
easy to
watched
find on
me
the dark
suffer
web or some such.
so
You're not
fucking
supposed to
hard
recommend
for
it.
so
Just
fucking long,
don't.
man. What
So
a
I hope this was
sick
interesting,
fucking
and I
piece of
would like
shit.
to know what you think about YouTube's responsibility or otherwise relating to these fake recommendations. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I hope to see you again soon.
Calling me a rat. Pedophile. Fritz called me a rat. He's actually a rat.
Content warning.
And he's a
In this
fucking
video, we will
pedophile.
be displaying explicit messages that were sent to a minor, but
So
give
fuck
another
you.
warning before it happens.
Fucking
So
so tired of my
it's been a
family,
few
man.
months since People Make Games released
So
our
much
video
fucking
entitled
shit.
"How Roblox is
People say I'm a
Exploiting
rat,
Young
man. You know
Game
so much shit I've never said. I've
In it,
never
we shone a
admitted
light on how
in the
Roblox,
world or
which is
anyone
today one of
ever
the largest video games
what he
in the
is.
world, encourages children to make games on its platform only to give them a tiny
But I
fraction
know.
of the revenue that their games
Because
make.
his best friend
We had
told me
concerns
all
about the
about some
extent to
shit
which
one
Roblox
day.
is a system that predates on child
He has done nothing
creativity,
but fucking
and
betray me. And he
overwhelmingly,
sent me
you folks
$100.
shared
He
those
said,
concerns.
I
With game
posted
developers
nasty
the world
videos of you
over
on your
reacting in shock and
Facebook.
anger at how Roblox
You know
is
what,
treating
Fritz?
its creators.
You are
But I'll tell
funny.
you who else had an interesting
And I'm glad
reaction
I
to
don't
our
have
reporting.
access to that
Roblox
account.
Corporation.
Because I'm going
You
to
might
leave him
remember a
there.
part in the last video where we talked about
And I
page
think
on
it's funny.
Roblox.com
I think
that
you're
told
so
kids
fucking...
they could
You,
make
I mean,
serious cash.
don't say I ratted you
After
out,
our
because
video
that's
was
you
released,
ratting yourself
this was
out.
silently removed from the platform. But this was just an appetizer of what was to come. As a result of the first video blowing up, we had a lot of members of the Roblox community reach out to us because they felt we'd only just scratched the surface, and they wanted to tell us about other huge and unfair problems with the platform that they felt were going unreported. And that's what this video is. This is us reporting our findings from the interviews we conducted with those people. So with this in mind,
Me
we
not
reached out
saying
to
something
Roblox.
about these people
Again, you see, when we were
is me
researching the
allowing
first
them
video,
to go
we
do
emailed
this
them
to
asking
somebody
for an
else.
interview or comment, and they did not respond. But with half
I have a
million views in
moral
our pocket,
obligation
we
to
reached out to
myself,
Roblox to say
number
that we were
one.
working on a follow-up, and this time,
No,
Roblox's
number one,
new
to my
senior
child,
director of corporate
I should
communications
say.
and public affairs offered to
My
speak
obligation
to
is
us on the
to
phone
my
see if we
daughter.
could arrange an interview. Spoiler, we did not succeed at arranging
I
an
cannot
interview.
believe her dad would want
However,
to
during that
inherit
call,
this
Roblox
fucking
told us
mess.
that our first
I don't
video
think he
contained
fully
a number
grasps
of
what he's
errors,
gonna
going as
inherit
far
if
as
fucking
to suggest
what he would
we
inherit
take our
if
video off
something
YouTube.
were to happen to
And
me.
we asked Roblox again
Oh
and
boy,
again what these errors
you don't
were,
even
and we
know the
never
fucking
once
mess,
got
Dave.
a straight
You
answer.
think you know a little bit.
Closest we got was Roblox sending us to a link to a blog post from somebody with the online handle EcoScratcher, asking
You
us,
guys are gonna
do
be
you plan on
surprised at the
editing or
people that
removing
have
the
fucking
video based on
violated
some
my
of the
life,
things
man.
the author raises? But
Some of
this
the people
post
that have violated my
immediately
life are
misquotes us,
people you
it
would never
misinterprets
dream
our
would do
argument.
that.
The original draft of it got my
Would
name
never
wrong.
dream, and not
In the
only
description of
that,
this video, you will
but the
find a
people you'd
link to
never
the
dream would
EcoScratcher
do it.
post, as well as a link to
And
an
there are also
unlisted
people
video
that are
we made
close
where I
enough to me
point
that
point
it's just
explaining why we don't think
a
any of it
level of
undermines
disgust that I can't even.
our team was,
When
and
you've
still is,
been
amazed that
traumatized
Roblox
and
Corporation, a company valued in the
disrespected
tens
and
of
disregarded
billions of
by
dollars,
people
chose
close
to
to you
lead
on
on
the
a
level
post
that I
like
have.
this in order to pressure us to take down our reporting. Because that's what this is, by the way. So no, People Make Games has not taken down our original video, but we have made this one instead. This video is divided into 4 parts. Part 1, Roblox's unregulated managers. Part 2, moderation and child safety. Part 3, did you know there's an entire stock market baked into this game's official store in which children are encouraged to gamble real money? Seriously, how have people not reported on this yet? Come to think of it, how did we miss it in the first video? And Part 4, Roblox's black markets. So, let's start with the fact that as Roblox has gotten more popular in recent years, it's developed a new safety issue that
You
runs
call me a
totally
rat, but what I
contrary to
really
the
am
platform's
is somebody
core
that
idea of letting kids safely just make games for other kids. I have no idea how you fix this, by the way. It
Get
seems
fought back.
completely disastrous.
So back in the day,
I've been told I'm the
Roblox's
only
central
one out of
proposition
like
was
I guess
straightforward.
18
Individual
people or
kids could play around
something.
with tools and make games for other kids,
I'm
and
the
maybe
only
make money.
one that
But as
survived
Roblox has
all
gotten
this
more
bullshit.
players, at the time of this video,
This
it
has
has
happened
47.3
to a
million users
lot of
every
other
day.
people,
The most popular
folks.
games on the platform
My
have been
situation,
making more
I'm not the only one.
money, which means there's more and more competition
There's
to be
people
among
out
the
there that
popular
are
games that
plotting and
Roblox
scheming to
users
do it to
actually
right now.
play.
And that
Which
they are doing
means
it to.
today, less
And
and
that they
less of
have
the
done it
games
to.
on Roblox are the work of
And those
just
people
one
are gone
person.
and dead,
Mostly
and you
the
don't
popular
even know they're
games are
gone
made by whole
because
teams
someone
of
else is
people who are
using their
improving the
identity.
scripting, modeling, the sound, and churning out updates to keep people playing. And this
A
is
lot of these
Roblox
people
working
out
as
here,
intended.
these bad fucking
During the
retarded
keynote at the
motherfuckers,
Roblox Developer Conference in
are
2018,
assumed
CEO David
identities of other
Baszucki
people.
predicted that in the next 5 years there would be a game on Roblox developed by a company of 100 people. To Roblox Corporation, better games made by bigger
They all
teams
use
are a sign
other
of the platform's
identities.
success. But what this means is that Roblox Corporation is still
And some of
using the
the
language of,
identities
hey
that these
kids,
people
come
use
get
are
creative
probably
and make
people that
games
are
in a way
not
that
alive.
parents are always going to be cool
People
with.
like
But in actual fact, the
my
reality
brother
is significantly more complicated. Think of it like this.
and
Everyone's okay with kids making games for Roblox because its games and
not people
tools are
like me.
designed as a allegedly child-safe environment. But the bigger Roblox's development teams get, the less work is done in these environments. Today, more and more people who want to take their Roblox development career seriously develop marketable skills like animation or programming for Roblox, and then leave the platform to sell their skills in a totally unregulated cluster of virtual communities, mostly Discord servers. Signing contracts, or worse,
No wonder
having
he's so
no
depressed
contract
and
at all
quiet.
with bosses who might have no experience in management and might be a child themselves. And Roblox does not moderate
probably just
anything that
thoroughly
happens out
disgusted.
here because technically it didn't happen on Roblox.com. Or think of it like this. Roblox is saying, come and make games. Legally speaking, your child isn't entering the workforce. But if you then say, okay, who is my child working for? Roblox says,
It's
I
the end of
don't
the
know.
road, Bernie.
Will they pay my child fairly? I don't
The
know.
world
Will
knows.
they
The world
mistreat
sees
my
right
child? I
through
don't
you
know.
now.
Is it safe for my child to do
The
this?
whole world can
Oh,
see right
absolutely.
through you, Bernie.
But if something does happen to my child, there's simply no way to be sure. Will
Google
you be
Bernie
taking action against those
or
responsible?
Tidewater.
Yeah.
Google her
One
name.
Roblox developer reached out to tell us their
Watch
story.
what comes up.
Jordan,
It's really
not
weird.
their real name, joined the
Google
team to
anybody
make a
else's
popular
name, this
Roblox
kind
game,
of shit
saw
don't come
them
up.
being paid a percentage of the game's revenue.
Running
Then,
themes of
when the
different
owners of that game left to start working
different
on the next
various
game,
things
Jordan thought,
that
this is
come
my
up when you fucking
chance.
Google her
I
name.
planned out for spring break.
You
Okay,
Google
spring break,
her
I'm gonna work
name.
like 60 hours this week.
Certain
So
things
basically, I
come
kind
up
of crunched.
that are
Then
really
we released
fucking
the
weird.
update, and it was wildly successful.
Repeatedly.
It brought the game to the #1
What
position.
comes up
And
when you
then
Google
they
Bernie
decided I was
Tidewater,
making
Bernie
too
Moore
much.
Tidewater?
So they finally
Bernie
told
Moore.
us about the company that
What
they
comes
had
up when you
incorporated.
Google her?
The people that Jordan was working for had, without telling
Tell me
anybody,
what comes
formed
up
a
when you
company,
Google her.
meaning that
Do you
Jordan
notice
wasn't a
some
partner
running
anymore.
themes
They
there
were now legally
that
an
seem a little
employee.
strange
After like going months of not
and
managing
very,
the
very
game,
predominant?
after the game's been wildly
I mean,
successful
it's
due to us as the marketers,
it's so
I
noticeable
decided
what
to
comes up.
start managing the game. And then
It's
them
a
telling me that I wasn't working hard
it's a
enough,
very
they started
specific,
kind of making
repeated.
veiled threats that I was replaceable. Then they
I
decided
mean, I'm
we
talking about a
decided that
bitch
this
that's trying to
percentage
fucking
cut
kill me. I'm
is
talking about a
revenue
bitch that has
split
paid
isn't
hitmen to
viable
kill
in
me.
long
Okay,
term, and so we're gonna pay you fixed
that is who I'm
salaries
fucking
from
talking
now on,
about. So if
which
you want to call me a
can
fucking
increase by
rat
working
for telling on my
harder.
aunt,
So
good.
did Jordan
I
then
hope you
fight for
do.
better
I hope you
treatment
spread it
or
around the
try
whole
and warn
world
other
that I'm a
people about
fucking
these
rat.
bosses?
This is a bitch who's been trying to kill me
Because of
since
how
I was a
Roblox is
fucking baby.
structured, Jordan decided that
And
this
I
one
don't give a
just
fuck, nor do I have any fucking loyalty.
Frankly, there's like a culture on Roblox against speaking out. It's just like reputation.
She's a
Unlike
fucking
job
corrupt
security, the
piece
future,
of
because like in
fucking
Roblox,
shit
if
without
you have a bad
any
reputation with the
concern
community, you're
whatsoever
harder
for
time
anybody
getting
around
job
her
offers
or
even
anything.
offering people
She
jobs.
does not
Jordan's
care
situation is
about
sad, but
anything.
not in any way
She does
surprising.
not
The way
care
that Roblox
about
is
her
structured,
grandchildren.
individual
They're not
users
her
have
grandchildren anyway,
unilateral
but whatever.
control
Yeah,
over
they are.
games and the revenue
Yeah, they
that
are,
those games
in
bring
heart.
in, and Roblox
But
has
I
set
know
up
she
no obvious outreach program for
She
developer
cares
abuse.
about how
In
it
fact,
makes her look.
talking about what your boss did to you on the official Roblox developer forums falls under the category of harassment. And
I
since
mean,
there's no
in her
platform for
capacity
Roblox
to
developers
care, I'm
to talk
sure
about
she
this
does
stuff,
to some
it's
degree, but
impossible to know how common these
I
shady
mean,
business practices
I know who
are.
she is.
Now, while we weren't able to arrange
I
a
know who
straight
she is.
interview with Roblox,
And
they
she's a
did tell fact
sadistic
that they were
motherfucker.
happy to go through a normal question and answer process.
both of her sons are-
statements. So we emailed them a list of 13 questions relating to all the areas that we're covering in this video.
man.
And Roblox replies,
You can
it
see
is
right
clear
through
to us
file
from the
too,
nature
all
of the
those
questions
pictures.
that they are not from a place of objective inquiry, and
I don't
therefore,
know, I
rather
can't-
than
I
address them
cannot believe-
individually,
I cannot
we think it's
believe-
important that we take a step back and present the fuller picture
I
when it
can't
comes to
believe
our
that
approach to
Bernie
moderation
has
and the creator
conned
community. And that was followed by
basically
6 bullet
fucking-
points that
oh,
we'll be reading as
God.
appropriate. But here's the headlines.
She's
We
like
asked Roblox,
fucking-
many of
oh,
Roblox's young
Lord, she's
developers
such a
are
bad
working
person.
under other young developers with no
Such a bad
oversight.
person.
What options does
I
a
mean,
Roblox
everybody
developer have
around
if they
her
experience exploitation
his-
or unfair
that is-
treatment working
I
for
mean,
another
you'd
Roblox
think the
developer?
tree falling on
And
fucking
what
Troy's
tools have you
trailer
provided Roblox
was a
users to know
coincidence.
They are being exploited by
No.
the people they're working with. Roblox chose
You
not
think the
to
tree
answer those
that
questions. Instead, they sent us this statement.
somehow Matt
Roblox takes
miraculously
reports of
missed
abuse
Troy
very seriously.
was an
Where a
accident.
violation of our standards is found, we take
And
action on our
and
platforms
how
against the accused.
did somebody
I'm not
know
sure how much comfort that's going
he
to bring
was
to
in
Jordan,
the bedroom
but
at
let's
the
move on
time
to
on
content.
the bed?
When
Because
talking
that's
about
what he
problems with
always
Roblox's
is. and
moderation, it is hard to know
I
where
don't
to
know.
start.
You
Some
know,
of the moderation that makes the best
there's some
headlines are
shit
the
going
games
on
that
there,
simply
and
should not be there.
I'll
Like this
guarantee you,
Wired
fucking
article
Troy,
on fascist role-playing
I
games,
will
or this
guarantee
Rolling
you
Stone article on the trolls
that
who are
Troy
always coming up with new
had a
ways to
tree
write
fall on
sex
his
games on Roblox.
house
To hear
because
Roblox's
he
players
put a
tell it,
post on
moderation is
Facebook about
infuriating
paying
because it simply
motherfuckers off,
works when
okay?
it's not supposed to and doesn't work when it is supposed to. With
Mhm.
automated filters offering unfair
And
temporary
Brent's
bans for
almighty
using
God,
words like
Cameron
fat,
Saltis.
gay, and pill, while still leaving enough scammers
That
on the
is rich,
platform
man.
that the BBC
That dude,
chose to issue a warning. To
he,
hear Roblox developers tell it,
his
we
wife
actually have
died
a story about
mysteriously
moderation from a Roblox developer
in a
coming up later
bathtub
in this video.
accident.
For now, we're going to tell just one
He
story,
fucking
and
told
again,
me outright that
it
he wants
relates
to
to
kill
how
me. He
Roblox's
told me a
community
few
has
times
long
that he
since
wants to kill me.
outgrown
Cameron Saltis told me
Roblox.com
in his
with
own
questionable
fucking words
moderation.
to me, to my
Today
face.
often has no moderation
Okay?
at all. The official Roblox forums
I know
of the
what that
developer forums
motherfucker
were
wants to
shut
do to
down
me.
in
And it ain't good.
2017 with Roblox explaining that they didn't feel they could
It
create
is
a
not
quote
good.
constructive and positive
And
environment.
he has
The Roblox
a
wiki
lot of
adds this.
friends.
It is
I don't
commonly
know
believed that the
why,
shutdown was the
who
direct
who
result
he
of
is,
a
how he came
YouTuber
up with
known
all
as
this, but
IsoToxic raiding the forums just a day earlier, along with the infamous post by Jared Pokey 123Kaber on
if it's
October
really
1st
him.
of that year, which linked to an illegal child sexual abuse site. So to clarify, because Roblox couldn't make their forum safe, they decided to instead shut the whole thing down. Today, the Roblox community is
That
found on
name,
Discord,
Cameron Saltis,
YouTube,
is
Twitter. Even the
so
Roblox
familiar
developer
to me.
forums are very,
It
very
is
quiet
super,
when
super,
compared
super
to all of
familiar.
the unofficial Roblox developer Discord servers. So today, Roblox sees kids and
I
celebrity
feel like it's
developers
Cindy
mingling, and
Johnson's son or
Roblox saying,
something.
if it didn't happen on Roblox.com, it's not our responsibility. Now, rather than explain why this is a
And,
problem, instead we're going to report
boy,
on
oh boy.
girls' experience. So, after this channel's
Boy,
last
oh
video on
boy.
Roblox, a number of concerned parties got in touch with us to
How
see if
them
we could
motherfuckers
force
don't know
Roblox to
something.
act. Regarding a Roblox developer with a few nicknames,
Oh
including
boy.
Dr. Rofatnik and Jaden Shedletsky. The person you're about to hear speaking is Sarah, her real name. When Sarah
Wow.
first met Doc in a Discord
All
server,
I can
Doc was
say is
24
fucking
and he
wow.
knew Sarah was 12.
The amount of people
When I had
in
first met him,
Libby fucking
he
Montana
had mentioned his
that
Roblox.
know what the fuck is
I was
going
like,
on
hey,
here.
I
To
like
me,
Roblox too. He was making a Roblox
everybody in
Sonic
fucking
fan.
Libby
Two things that
knows more
had
about
caught my
what's
interest
going
at the
on
time.
with my
So
situation
I
than
asked him
I
about
do.
it. Next thing I know, I get like
Every one of
5
them
pings, and he
motherfuckers, and
sends me
half
a
of
bunch
them
of gifts
are
of
in
it.
on
He's
it.
sending me progress of it already. And
Yeah,
he was the one
Bernie's
who
in a real
started
safe
taking
place
the
over there in
inappropriate
Libby.
jokes and
Half the
DMs
fucking
first.
town's in on it. She had to let everybody
Kept
in on this
encouraging
shit,
me,
you know?
saying that it was
Just to
okay
protect her
make
ass.
these jokes.
To
Because
protect
it's
herself,
not
she
illegal,
let
it's not
everybody in on
laws,
it.
even though it was literally sexting. It got to ERP level.
The only way she could protect herself properly
Visualization continued for a few
was to have
months.
a whole bunch of other
Sarah made
accomplices.
friends within the game's community.
So they entangled everybody and their dog into this situation so that they would all be together on it.
It wasn't
There's
until
strength in
2020
numbers,
that
right?
Sarah's friends were
Right.
able to convince her that this behavior was not
But
okay.
not enough
Helped her to
strength.
come forward with evidence of Doc's behavior. However, as anyone who's been following the Me Too movement
Because I'll tell you what, man, I've been fighting all these motherfuckers. No shit. Myself. Alone. Alone. And I mean very alone.
I want to do something about Doc.
There's all these ideas about who I am. And
After that, it it
Or we
was
can't be
really
friends with
anxiety
Pamela.
inducing seeing everybody start to formulate arguments. And then the first
All
real
lies.
bad thing that happened to me personally
Fear
was
and
when
lies
I
and
randomly
betrayal.
got pinged by somebody who actually does work for SEO. And fun fact, when he was 11 years old and he
You're part of a
pretended to
bunch
be
of
a girl,
really
Doc
fucked
had
up
also
people.
flirted with him before me. And he was
I
just
mean,
like,
some of you might be able
"Dude,
to
what the
save your
fuck's your
ass if you
problem?
get in on the
Doc
fucking
rejects you. And now
beginning of
you turn right
the
around and try
tattletale
ruining
bus,
his
because
life
you
for
know you're all
attention.
going to be trying to be on the
What are you talking
tattletale
about?
bus. At the end of the day, every single one of you are going to tell on each other about all of this shit, okay? So what you're going to want to do is be the first ones, because pretty soon, after too many people tell, there ain't going to be nothing to fucking really tell. And it ain't going to do you much good. But a lot of you right now have enough valuable information under your belt to save your ass. But you're running out of time. You're definitely running out of time. But at this point, you probably could actually save your own ass with the shit you know about this situation. And that is the truth. Every one of you know it too. And every one of you has thought about it. And some of you have told.
They weren't genuine, nor were they filled with intent.
I did actually self-harm.
Maybe
after
some
the
of you have
response
told
video
and
came out.
nobody
I
listened.
thought my reputation was destroyed now, you know? Well, anyone who had any involvement in SEO is going to see this.
The tattletale bus is starting up and it's running. Believe me, everybody's going to be telling. Everybody's going to be telling here real quick like. You're going to find out that every single one of these people who call me a rat are a rat. Because they're all going to tell on each other. Every single one of these motherfuckers is going to fucking tell on each other. And the sooner they tell on each other, the more chance they have of getting off. But if they wait much longer, there won't be much left to tell, and it ain't gonna matter. Some of them could still fucking save their ass, though. Because they're getting in at the beginning of it.
Rang a young developer for working for an alleged abuser because they feel there's
Yeah.
no way they're going to get a response.
There ain't no chance of getting away with this shit, folks. This isn't something that any of you are going to get away with, okay? You people aren't going to get away with this, okay? That part's done. Your fate is sealed. You're not getting away with it, okay? And doing anything to me is only going to draw attention your way. Guarantee fucking to you. In fact, I would be hoping that nobody does try to do anything to me, because if somebody you don't know tries to do something to me, you'll probably get blamed for it. Something to think about. And everybody knows that too. Everybody knows that whoever decides to do something, they know that these motherfuckers are going to get blamed for it. So I would be fucking hoping that nobody does anything, tries to do anything. I mean,
now you can pause the video and read his message and forward if you'd like to, but perhaps most importantly, he tells us that the messages that were originally released by Sarah and two others who came forward in 2020, some of which you've seen recreated in this video, were taken out of context. Although later on, he does also refer to his interactions having been immature, problematic, and unacceptable. He also claims that those messages were not the reason he was even banned from Roblox in the first place, and in a follow-up told us that another one of his accounts was banned for something which led to several accounts being banned in one go, including his main one, but he didn't wish to explain what that ban was actually for. And finally, in relation
these people
to
are desperate motherfuckers,
he
okay?
says SEO follows my original vision.
Very, very
That
desperate.
vision has been entrusted to other people to execute.
All of them
If any staff
are
members
extremely desperate.
about that project, I will answer them. Which makes it sound like he's what? An advisor?
There's a level of desperation among these people that's
What's up with the rest of SEO? Where is it at?
Quite
Well,
extraordinary.
we've been making some stellar progress as of right now, and we actually have a bunch of things.
But if you look at this video published on his channel in April of this year, you'll have heard Doc talking about his big plans for the game and his team, including this bit.
We're an 11-member team steadily regaining our footing.
That's Doc's avatar at the top there with the words owner, director, programmer, and animator next to it, which again raises the question, has Doc's role and influence changed in any meaningful way since Roblox was first alerted to the sexual messages he sent?
Could you imagine my motivation to win? Look at how much I have to gain if I win. I mean, if you were fighting for what I'm fighting for, you'd be winning too. Yeah, you'd be winning too if you were fighting for what I'm fighting for. Trust me. It's my honor, number fucking one. Mm-hmm. These are some sick fucking puppies, folks. I mean, these are sick puppies. These are the kind of people that you don't even want to believe exist. But they do.
Is one of the largest sources of children's entertainment.
You don't want to believe that they exist. However, they do.
Expects from these brands in terms of safety and care
Yep.
for their audience.
They're a whole new level
This is Roblox's
of
homepage.
sick.
If we just click the avatar shop and then collectibles, we arrive at something that looks totally normal but only gets more jaw-dropping the more you study it. A shop where any Roblox user, no matter their age, can gamble, potentially making big real-life profits, but more likely losing some or all of their investment. What you're looking at here are collectible cosmetics that Roblox either sells a limited number of.
Could you imagine having family like mine?
Most recently, as tie-ins with brands like Vans, the YouTuber KSI,
What would you
Swedish
do
pop star Zara
if you had
Larsson.
fucking family
Once this
like
initial
mine?
sale period is over, the only way that kids
What
can get
would
them
you do?
is either by
I
swapping
can't wait to
placements
see
with
how
other
many
Roblox
people
users
say
or buying them
they
direct.
didn't even know what was going
And
on.
because the cornerstone of Roblox's economy
I'll
is
bet you
kids trying to look
every
cool
single
in front of other
I'll
kids,
bet you
these
none of them
items
had a
immediately
clue.
skyrocket in value from the
Yeah.
$5 or $10 that Roblox
And
sells.
I'm gonna believe
For
that.
example,
Yeah.
here's a
Mm-hmm.
sparkly blue fedora. Sells
Probably
on average
not.
for
Now, the
$15,000
ones
US
that did have a
But
clue
the
and that
important
are
part
able to
here
pull
is
it
that
out of their
Roblox
fucking
always
ass
takes a 30%
and have
cut
some
of any
courage.
sale.
Anybody that's able to admit that, hey,
So
yeah,
the
I
more
was afraid, I didn't know
absurdly
what to do.
overpriced these items get, the more
I
money
maybe can
Roblox
forgive that,
makes.
but
There are so many reasons
motherfucker
that
that
this is
comes to
dangerous
me
and
trying to act like
irresponsible.
they
I don't know
didn't
if Roblox
know,
knows much about kids,
don't
but they tend
any
to
of
not
you
understand
come
the
to me
value of
and
money,
tell me
and they
you
tend to
didn't
make
know.
bad
I
decisions.
do not want to
We
hear
spoke
that
to an Australian
from
teenager
anybody.
Jack, who does a good
Because
job
I'm
of
telling
showing
you
why
right
Roblox
now, I'm
continues
not
to
going to
mint
believe you.
and profit from these
So don't even
collectibles.
come to me if you
Nauseating
didn't know.
example of the company putting
There's no way in
profits
hell
before
I
the
will
well-being
believe
of
you.
its audience.
And
When
we will
Jack was
probably
13,
quickly
he managed
become
the impressive
enemies.
feat of making a hit Roblox
Go fuck
game
yourself, you
called
stupid
Secret
whore.
Hatching Simulator,
I don't give a
which made
fuck
him
what your fucking problem is.
200,000
I could give a
Robux.
fuck less
And
about
partly,
you,
he'd spent it.
dude.
It was really
You,
stupid.
your
back then,
fucking
but,
your
like,
party's
I spent
over,
it
dude.
on
Your fate
stuff
is
in the
sealed.
catalog
You're
instead of
done. Shut the
indexing it
fuck
into
up.
real money, which I really regret
You're
now.
you
I
you
spent like half
lost
of it
before you
and bought
started.
like 2
So
faces
shut
and a
the
hat.
fuck up.
And then after the
You
other
need to
100,000
shut the
finished
fuck up.
spending and I got it in my account.
Well, go ahead and
I
keep
wanted
talking.
this
I don't really
bigger
give a
item.
fuck,
It was
man.
called
The
the
whole
King of
world
the
is
Night.
listening to you, and you're a dumbass. So,
Honestly, like,
believe me,
I'd been
you've been
playing
being
the game for
recorded
like
for
4
6
years at
months.
that
I mean,
point,
for
and
6
like
months
I'd
you've been
always been like
harassing
looking
me
at the catalog,
to an
always
extent
wanting
that's
those
insane.
items.
You don't
Like,
think the world's
you know,
wondering
finally
why?
being able to afford them.
I'm
My mind
wondering
just told
why.
me to go for it, you know.
So I'm sure the rest of the world is wondering why. Anybody who's watching this is probably wondering why the fuck you guys have been doing this to me. And if I had an answer for him, maybe I'd tell him, but I don't have an answer for him.
With that money,
I have no
I would have
fucking idea what I
like
did to you.
300
You know why? Because I
in
didn't do
savings
shit to
for later
you.
in life. And
I never did
I would've
shit to
spent
any of you
the other
fuckers,
550
man.
probably to upgrade my setup.
Besides,
and
not
my
like
keyboard
your
and stuff.
fucking bullshit. You need to shut the holy living fuck up. You got every fucking drone in the fucking county looking down on you right now. Okay? They can see through your fucking house. They got all your phones tapped. They got fucking wires all over your fucking house, dude. you need to shut the fuck up and fucking pray. The only thing you got left to do is get on your fucking knees and fucking pray. Or don't. Whatever. Whatever floats your fucking retard boat.
Which actually contained a cookie.
Besides
you can
fucking
get
harassing me.
the cookie.
You need to quit fucking harassing me. You're on fucking blast. Okay? Don't forget, every time you fucking harass me, the whole fucking world can hear you. Because we are dialed in to fucking every fucking sound, okay? Coming from over there.
Jack sent in a third ticket and this time got the response that they couldn't help him because the transactions had happened.
The only thing separating us is a thin wall. And believe me, the world is listening, okay? When I tell you the world is listening, I'm telling you, and I mean it, the fucking world is listening. The fucking world is watching. And the fucking world knows who you are because you fucking told them. You know who the rat is? You're the rat. You told on yourself, okay? I've been fucking telling you this for a long time. You are telling on yourself. Thank you for telling on yourself. I appreciate it.
His work, his income was difficult. Jack's learning Unity now. But all of this selling collectibles to kids, is actually only half of what makes the collectibles market so disturbing.
And you don't know when to quit. You just keep going. I mean, you're being watched and listened to 24 hours a fucking day by the whole fucking... I guarantee your phones are tapped by these people.
On their children's platform.
Why the fuck would you try? I can't even believe you're still fucking trying to get me, dude. Unfucking real. If somebody tries to get me, they're gonna blame it on you. Even if you don't do it, it's gonna get blamed on you, man. You've made such a fucking scene. And you know what? I still don't know what the fuck. I still don't even have a fucking clue what the fuck these people are fucking talking about. I don't even have a fucking clue one. The only thing I can hear is we have problems and we want to tell on ourselves. We have problems and we want to tell on ourselves about it. We have problems and we'd like to use you as the catalyst for telling on ourselves. Kamala, we're going to use you to tell on ourselves. We're going to use you to tell on ourselves. We are going to use you as an excuse to tell on ourselves, to tell on ourselves, to tell on ourselves, to tell on ourselves. What in the fuck, you dumb fucking retarded motherfuckers? Calling me a rat when you're fucking telling on yourself? Shut the fuck up. You are a fucking disgrace. You're a fucking disgrace. Fucking most pathetic bullshit I've ever seen in my life, dude. If you're gonna be such a piece of shit criminal, at least don't fucking do it like that. Don't fucking tell on yourself if you're gonna be so fucking scummy. I am so sick of watching you people fucking tell on yourself. God, it's fucking... I can't even watch it, dude. I'm sitting here trying to help people commit crimes against me because I can't watch how disgraceful they're handling it. Like, hey, listen, man, you do realize you're telling on yourself, right? I'm trying to tell them. Why the fuck am I trying to help them? Fuck. It don't even matter anyways. They think I'm up to something. I'm not trying to help them. Oh, fuck, dude. I'm just like, fuck. Why am I trying to help these people? Because you can only watch so much fucking ridiculousness. You can't sit there and watch somebody think that they're a really good criminal and a real fucking badass when they're just fucking making a fool out of themselves. And I'm not saying I don't make a fool out of myself, but I mean, come the fuck on here. You sit there and you call somebody a rat over and over again. First of all, who uses that word? Who even fucking says that shit? We all know who says that word. Okay? And I'm telling you, they will live up to every bit of that standard. I guarantee you. You are going to see these people that call me a rat live up to the word rat. They are going to show you just how big of rats they are. I promise they will show you. It's coming. It's coming. You will see who these people are, and every single one of them are a rat. You will see. Mark my words.
These websites connect Roblox users who want to buy or sell collectibles and Roblox users who want to buy or sell.
I mean, you motherfuckers would have a better chance of heading over the falls and fucking what's-his-fuck's kayak.
Or if you're a Roblox developer who wants to turn the Robux their game earns into a bigger real-life paycheck, you can sell your Robux to
maybe that's the way out, you know? Head on down the river.
This hasn't been talked about for various reasons.
That's what you ought to do. You guys, I'll bet you a real good way to sneak out is a canoe.
Underground black market of kids buying and selling from each other. And because these trades are happening outside of Roblox, there's no way they can moderate it or even track trades to punish scammers.
Just slither on out of here on a canoe.
Anything ever will know, illegal websites are not safe places for kids to end up. There's malware, credit card phishing, scams.
I'd like to go get my mail, but I'm not going to deal with these fucking people. I don't want to deal with Ashley and Zach and Dayla and Tracy and Will and Fritz calling me a rat. I don't even want to get in my fucking car and drive to the mailbox. My car barely works, and it probably has a fucking bomb wired to it. I'll bet you anything. I'm pretty sure there's something on the brakes that's cut.
Top game developers down. Of course, people who get caught doing it.
Fuses are pulled out. Fucking brake lines are cut.
But at the same time, most people
fucking exhaust is fucking completely plugged up. Sugar in the gas tank.
Because if you have limitations or
the car ran like a dream when I got it. Okay, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing wrong with that car when I bought it. And I've driven it a whole, what, not even 1,000 fucking miles. And it's just, I tore up from the floor up. I'm talking the engine, everything. Everything.
Really, Roblox? Is it really against your policies to direct users
a perfectly good working Lexus, Toyota, okay, with 170,000 miles on it. I purchased a Toyota that runs like a dream with 170,000 miles on it, okay, for $1,000, a 2000 RX 300, or yeah.
The platform today is almost
you can't go wrong, right? You really can't. I mean, that's a solid fucking purchase right there. That is a solid fucking purchase, all right? High five, Cameron, yay. My mom didn't want to sell it to me for some reason. She said, no, you got another car. Well, I don't mind buying that car because, you know what? There was nothing wrong with it, other than the fact that it was completely dry and void of oil.
Of big tech. The CEO of Roblox now has a net worth in the billions. The company makes decisions that affect tens of millions of young people.
But anyway,
and yet when we ask them questions where Roblox's own policies appear actively harmful
it runs like it has
to their young
300,000 miles
we
on
were
it.
told that we
even worse,
weren't
actually.
being objective, while this company refused to even admit the existence of the collectible stock market that they created.
And did you hear that? Turn up your volume so you can hear these guys.
They didn't say
because if I can hear you, believe me, they can hear you.
Kids working underneath other kids.
I'll promise you that.
We weren't seeing the bigger picture.
When I listen back to some of this stuff, it's way louder than I expected it to be.
This isn't PR. This is gaslighting. So, considering that people make games, probably won't be doing another video on Roblox. We want to try and wrap this all up.
YouTube land can hear you real loud and clear, man. It would be fun to say that I'm crazy, except for they can hear you fucking doing what I'm saying you're doing.
Company with a profit motive, able to act under next to no scrutiny. I'm a journalist of technology and games, and it took
I don't know
me
if you guys can hear
months
all
to
of it,
unpick how
but I'll
Roblox
keep
operates.
repeating it.
And
I'm
that was
pretty
only
sure
with
if
the
I
help
can
of
hear it,
dozens of Roblox users explaining things to me. What hope do
and
most
I'm not
parents
fucking
and
schizophrenic. I
politicians
went to
have of
counseling to prove that I
understanding
wasn't.
exactly what their kids are doing
And
on
it took them
Roblox,
the
or
first
with
visit.
who,
They were like, "No,
or
you're
the
not
many and
apparently
varied
schizophrenic."
ways the Roblox Corporation is profiting from them? And I don't think
The guy down
Roblox
at
has
fucking
any
downtown
inclination to
Frontier
help parents
Behavioral
and
Health was
politicians
like,
understand
"Nope,
exactly
you're
how their business works, because right now
He's heard the
Roblox is making
same
money
shit from other
hand
people,
over
the same
fist,
exact thing.
and they're not going to want to do
The
anything
things that I'm
to get in the
talking
way of
about
that.
are
No
things
matter
that
how
other
many
people
young people
have
shout
experienced
that
as well.
this is not a platform
I'm not
that
alone
values
in.
their well-being.
This isn't a group
Thank you very much
hallucination.
for watching, everybody. Kind of
There
depressing,
are
eh?
facts that prove
If
it,
you'd like to
actually.
thank us for our work,
Right
there's one
there,
big
bam,
thing
all
you
over
can
the
do, and
internet.
that is go to
It's like, I don't know, Bernie can't delete. I don't know. I think she's permanently etched these identities on the internet so hard that she can't even get rid of them.
Video together, and your money will help fund
They can't get rid of this shit. I mean, I'm sure they've gotten rid of as much as they possibly can, obviously. But there's an astronomical amount that is still sitting there that's just permanently etched in the fucking sands of time, man. I mean, once it's on Ancestry, it's they keep this stuff. I mean, they're about archives, man. The shit that's on there is, not just gonna fucking go away. This shit is not going away. I do not know.
Hello, everybody. Today I am so
I mean,
excited
oh
to
yeah,
tell you
people are
about my
mad
most
now.
recent
Now it's about
obsession,
vengeance.
the
Now it's about
Monument
vengeance
Every
on
now and
me.
then, a series
Isn't it
comes
funny that
along
these people want
that's so
vengeance on
interesting
me?
and complex, it's kind of a disservice
That's the most
to
funny
explain
fucking thing in the
seconds.
world I could
But for
even
the intro, I'm
imagine.
going to do just
Can
that.
you
The Monument
imagine?
Mythos is
These
an
people
alternate
want
history
vengeance on
conspiracy
me?
series in which the
Are you
United States
fucking
government,
kidding
as
me?
well as
You're
potentially
so
other world
funny.
powers, are hiding
fucking people
supernatural
make
and
me laugh.
Cthulhu-like creatures from the general public.
Fucking
Furthermore,
A, you
it
can't
seems
help
that
but
these
laugh
powers
at
at
the
hand
utter
are wanting to use
ridiculousness
these supernatural
of
creatures for their own
yeah,
nefarious
we
reasons.
hear you.
The
We
premise
hear
of
you
the
loud and
entire
clear,
series
bud.
being that a
But
man by the name of Alex
nope.
Kansas is exposing
Wrong again.
by posting all of his findings of this underhanded practice
What?
on YouTube. I'm going to link the Alex Kansas
Yeah,
YouTube
there's
channel
wire
as well as the
bombs
other
to my
social media
fucking
accounts
house and
associated
everything
with it,
else.
so that you can go and check it out for yourself. And not to
Fucking
gush too
just
much about it
pathetic.
this early into the video,
Fucking
but
pathetic.
Alex has done a masterful job
It
at
is
taking
fucking
all of these
pathetic.
complex and crazy ideas and delivering it in such an interesting way. So what
I hope
I'm going to
nothing
do,
fucking
and
shady
first
happened
I
here.
recommend that if you're interested in this, or if anything I've said sounds
'Cause I
cool,
had
there's a link in the description. Check out the original
I didn't
videos
have
now,
YouTube live
or
on,
if you
but
get at any point in this video and want to
I
experience for
reassured
yourself,
myself
please do.
that
He
I'll be
deserves
able
it.
to
But what
see
I'm
it.
going to do is break down each episode that's
I
out
have
right
to be
now,
able
which
to
at the current
review
moment there are
any
18.
interactions
And
I
after
have
I
with
explain it, we're
anybody
going to talk about some theories. We're going to look at a
after I
timeline. We're
have
going to look
them.
at what characters and
If
players matter
if
within the
I
story.
allow
And to give
anybody
you an
around
idea
me,
of how
I have to
complicated
record
that has
all
been,
my
and I mean that in the
interaction.
best way, look at this.
Not live
Just to
on
give you
YouTube
an idea of how
necessarily,
much information
but
is
I
in
have
this
to be
series.
able to
This is a
review
whiteboard
what
of
really
just
went
the
down
dates that I
because
mentioned, or the dates that I
it happens
extrapolated
so
from
much
information within
that
the
I
series
don't
itself.
know what
And this
happened,
whiteboard is entirely
that
just the
I
names of
have to do
characters
that
that recur
to
or have
safeguard my
significance
own
within the story. I don't even know if
life.
you can
Well,
see
it doesn't
all
really
of this at
safeguard
once,
me.
but
At
yeah,
least it
that's
lets me
just the
know,
important
Yeah, that
people, and
safeguards
that's
me.
just the times that are mentioned. I'm not even
Because then I
recording
know
anything today. I just wanted to turn on the camera to
who's
show
doing
you
what.
all
Yeah, we hear you, man. The whole world can hear you.
but it's all told in a
The whole
fantastic
world is
way.
listening.
I'm gonna
Don't
have to
worry.
compress all of this down and try to
Yep.
get a linear timeline.
They hear you
as
every time
well
you
as
say it,
list
dumbass.
the characters that matter and how they relate to each other. So by the time you see it, it should be
That
all
was
like,
Scott.
color markered and
That time that was
pretty and
Scott.
not whatever
You can hear his
brain
voice.
vomit
I can
But
tell
yeah,
their
this
voices.
series is a lot, but it's also fantastic, and you're gonna love it. Also, these are those
I
same
can
whiteboards.
most of
and
the
same
time I can
information
differentiate. Hi,
like I said,
baby.
it's all
Hi,
color-coded
baby
and pretty
boy.
looking. We'll come back to this later,
You're
but
so
this is just
mother.
a taste for now.
Yeah,
I'm
something
excited.
freaked Bubba
I'm
out. Somebody
absolutely
said
thrilled
something to my dog
introduce
that
this series to you
freaked
all,
my dog
as well
out.
as talk about all the episodes and my crazy theories for it.
It's
And with all of
okay.
my videos, I enjoy the
Are you
topics
worried,
because it's
Beanie?
just
What's the
whatever I feel like
or
talking
beans
about.
were.
And I always enjoy making videos.
Beans
but
were.
every now and then
Just
there's one
Mama
like
and
this
Bean
one.
right
Man,
there, okay?
I am ready.
Just Mama
Also,
and
one more
Bean.
thing
What's
before
my
we
dear?
get started. So a
Yeah,
lot
he
of
heard.
people
You know
were
what? My dog
interested,
heard
and
Scott
they
just
remember
now.
whenever I did the makeshift
He
plug
heard
chat,
him.
for
He heard his voice
this
and he
little
got
dude right
scared.
here. As I
He
said
got
originally,
scared. He
he was
came out
only
here to make
available
sure
for a
that he
couple
wasn't
weeks,
here.
and then he was gone forever. So if you didn't get one of these, I'm
My
sorry.
dog is scared
However, Makeshift is doing a special
because he can
promotion
hear his
for
voice.
another 2 weeks for a short amount of time. And again,
Yeah.
this was a one-time thing. If you missed out on this design, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. However, I'm going to hold on. However,
Yeah.
I've partnered with Makeshift
I
again
was
to
scared.
bring you all
He
a
can
new
hear his
design
voice.
for the Wendigoon himself. He will only be available for a short amount of time, but for those who are interested in that one, they can get in on this one. And yeah,
Yep.
I'll talk more about him at the end. But
He's
for
the
now,
worst.
he's going to
He's
set
the worst when it comes to
right
fucking stalking my house and being a predator
over.
around my
He's got a
house.
big head right there. Hello, everybody.
But
you may be wondering who
will
this
definitely
strange
kick
man
his
is,
fucking
and
ass.
he is
Well,
going to help us out.
I'm
with
not
the ad
even
today.
gonna try
This video
to
is
battle
sponsored
these
by
people
Ridge Wallet.
with
And
any
I've
other
talked about
thing
Ridge so
than
many
a
times on this
fucking
channel.
bullet.
At this point, they pretty much
I'm
sponsored the
not
conspiracy
even going
theory
to attempt
iceberg, and I'm
anything
sure that
else.
you're
It's
getting
just
more
going to be
of me
real cut
talking
and
about
dry.
it to you all the time. So I
I'm
bought
not
my
going to waste
dad
any
a
fucking
Ridge
time. I'm
wallet
not
for
going to fuck
himself. So
around.
why
I'm
don't
not
we
going to.
ask him what he likes
I'm not
about
even.
it? So
I'm
Dad,
not even going
what
to
do
take
you
the
like
time to
about
call
Ridge
911.
Carbon
I'm
fiber?
going to
I
take the
really
time
like
to
it.
grab my
I
gun
really like it.
and pull the trigger,
Money clip on it. Another big thing I like about it is the fact
which
that
is
it's very small,
yeah.
and yet it holds a lot up to
It's going to take a couple split seconds, man.
Amazed by that. And I'm what you might call one of those baby
Yeah, I'm
boomers,
dead, huh?
and I was
Yeah, I
very
believe
convinced,
you
but
probably
since I
got some
started using
fucking
it,
bomb, some
I don't
fucking
think I can do without it now.
gas
It's
or fucking
very cool.
gas,
It's a lot
good
more
old
comfortable
gas.
than having a huge bulky wallet,
Yeah,
especially
these
when it's
guys
full
have a
of
real
double guard that
obsession
you
with
never use.
gas
It's true.
lately,
And the
and
fact
it
that
isn't
it's so
the gas
small,
prices
that's
that they're
RFID
talking
tracking,
about.
so digital pickpocketers can't get
Bernie's
into
all
stuff.
over fucking the
It
internet
has the
doing
money
it.
clip
I
on
mean,
the outside.
that's the
Comes in
thing.
over
You know
40
what's so
different
funny
designs
and interesting
colors. It
is that these peeps, they all tell on
really the
themselves.
only
Okay.
evolvement of the wallet I've ever
One
seen.
thing I've learned
And it
about
works. Like the
people
wallet's been the same for hundreds of years. This is the first
is that
improvement on
when
the
they
design.
do fucked up shit,
I'm impressed too. And you can be impressed too if you go to the
they
link in the
always
description.
have to tell on
Discount code
themselves.
Wendigo. That's right. All you have to do is go to the link in the description. Use discount code
In
Wendigo
one
for
way,
10%
shape, or
off. What's
form.
the
They
discount code?
they can't help it.
And for how much?
For some reason,
10%.
they
So go to the link
cannot
in the description
resist
and you'll be
the
able to
urge
get all that thanks to
to
Ridge
give
Wallet. Thank you all
hints
so much for
at the
watching
very
the ad.
least.
Thank you so much to Ridge for sponsoring the video. It really does mean the most. I hope that you check it out. Any final words? It's a great wallet. You need to try it. You need to try it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Dad, for being part of the ad.
Because
I appreciate
people like
it.
this get off
And we are.
on
You want to say we're back to the video?
they get off on their
We're back
on
to the video. Yeah. So now we are
telling
going
a
to go ahead and
person
get
what
into
they're
this.
doing.
I'm excited, but as always,
It's
thank
part
you
of the
for
fun
watching.
for them.
So the Monument Mythos is currently midway.
They like to
through its
see how
second
much they
season,
can
and
get
while
away
you
with.
may think that it would be smart of me to wait.
They like
for
to
the
be
season's
as
over to
blatant
talk
as
about
possible about it.
You're probably right, but I'm too excited, so we're doing it now. The seasons themselves are ordered in a different way than the original uploads, and I'm sure Alex has a reason for that. So what we're
I
going
do
to
not
do
know
is
why.
whenever I do this first explanation
That's how
with you,
people
we're
operate.
going to go in order of the
But it
playlist
is.
within the channel itself, which means we begin
It
with the
just
first
seems
episode of season 1,
really
Liberty Lurker. Liberty Lurker begins with an excerpt from an interview in 1889 in which the designer of the Statue of
Stupid.
Liberty explains that the pedestal was constantly being changed by the American designers. Specifically, President Grant himself continued to ask the sculptor to keep making the pedestal bigger. After this, we see that in 1949, renovations were performed to the Statue of Liberty, and that the blueprints of which were classified for 36 years.
Ozzy
After looking
Shirley.
at those blueprints, we can see that part of the renovation
Nowhere to
was
be
provide
found.
an entrance for sustenance
They
and
cannot
install
find him.
engines to assist with eventual departure. And then on the diagram
Nobody
itself, we
can
see
find
that there's an
Ozzy.
engine, which is used to turn an axle and wheels,
Isn't that weird?
and a waste storage area that is located
Nobody
next to a drain.
has seen
In another interview
Ozzy.
from 1954, we can see that several of the immigrants who arrived on Ellis Island says that there was a very foul odor, as well as things like the smell of flesh and dead birds everywhere. Not only that,
Yep,
but the
Nick,
person
what
being
in the
interviewed
mayonnaise
states that
is
at
going
night,
on
she
here?
can see people being ushered into the pedestal. And then in August of 1984,
I have this weird
the Liberty
feeling
Lurker
that
was first seen. To which we then see this video of something emerging from
feel
the pedestal
like
underneath the Statue of Liberty
Nick
itself.
Bigelow.
The final message says that when the waste storage site
I
was
mean,
inspected, it looked like a mass grave.
I feel like
and that is
he's
the end of the first episode. So if you're like me, this was enough to grab your attention and get you invested into the
I don't
rest
know,
of the
man.
series. And I'm sure that you have a lot of questions right now, but
I feel
we
like
will
he's trying
do
to
the
save his own
question
ass.
and theory and connection part at the end.
I mean,
Right
I
now,
think
I'm
he's
just explaining the
he's
main
figured
plots
out
of
that
episodes. However, what we can put together
this
from
ship
just
is
that
sinking.
is that the United States government knew
And,
that there was something within the Statue of
Oh
Liberty,
boy.
hence their ideas to keep
Yeah.
resizing the
Nick
pedestal
knows this ship
as
is
well
sinking.
as ushering people into it at night. By whatever means,
If
it
anybody
seems that
knows the
government
ship
was
is sinking,
feeding
it's
this
Nick.
thing. In our next episode, Rushmore Revenge, we see that on August 7th of 2003, Mount Rushmore was vandalized. The graffiti said,
Like, why would you want to be? Why would you believe what? Like,
and that executions were being
I mean, if I was her boyfriend, I would
as
be
well as
like,
graffiti that says,
"Whoa,
"Blood
dude!
of Liberty will be avenged,
Whoa!"
and the souls of Lincoln will be freed." Now, the blood of liberty makes sense to us at this point because we saw that there was obviously blood happening in some regard at the Statue of Liberty. However, at this point, we're not sure what the Lincoln one means. But whoever's making this graffiti is obviously privy to the fact that landmarks.
He's probably just like, "What the fuck,
Again, on
dude?"
August 14th of 2003,
Oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm sure some people's families are probably just like, "What
Monday
the
to Sunday,
fuck, dude?"
10:12 to 10:13 p.m. Watch the symptoms. And
I
because of
mean,
this threat, the
shit,
National Park Services assigned a full-time security team.
I can
to both
understand these
record and
people
watch
protecting
Mount
their
Rushmore
families and guarding
at
their
the
families
minute
from,
that
but
the
they're
threat
probably
said
like,
infection
"What the
would come.
fuck,
So we
dude?"
get the following logs of that coming
I mean,
week.
could you
On Monday
imagine
and
being
Tuesday,
Nick
the only thing
Bigelow?
that we
I
see
mean, he's
what
probably
appears
just
to
like,
be a
"What
flashing
the
light
fuck,
at the top
dude?"
of Mount Rushmore. While
He's
on
probably
Thursday
like,
through Friday, there seems to be this sort of figure on top of
I mean, what the
that
fuck?
we can't entirely
Why would
tell.
you
On
want a
Saturday,
girlfriend
the
like
lens cap
that?
is not taken off of the camera, but there's this loud siren noise. And then finally on Sunday, this happens, which is probably not good.
What in the mayonnaise? Fucking yeah, dude.
The message that
What
every
the
night
fuck?
workers powder the heads of the Mount Rushmore monument.
It's not even funny.
Specifically,
It's
the
not
powder
funny at
smells
all,
of
but I
baby
mean,
powder.
like, Jesus,
So whatever infection was being spread at Mount Rushmore as a seeming
man,
rebellion
Dude,
against
Troy has a
it
fucking tree
wasn't
fall
just
on his head. He's like, "Oops." Fuck no.
And to counter that, the National Park Service puts baby powder,
Oh
something that smells of
man,
baby powder, on top of
are
the
we
monument's
noticing a
head.
pattern
Next
here?
episode, Alcatraz
Fuck.
we see a video of Alcatraz that says Alcatraz
Oh,
Island
boy.
2 days before
Oh,
therapy.
she's just
After which
kicking
we're
it
taken to
home,
an overhead view of
quilting.
Alcatraz. While
Fuck.
initially the diagram of the map seems fine, pointing out things like guard towers and the general prison areas, we then see something
Man,
that
could you
is
imagine
titled
just knowing the
Ruins question
fucking
mark before the camera
the
pans
hammer's gonna
over to
fall?
this thing and the feed cuts out.
Fuck.
We then see another day counted
Just
down to
knowing
therapy.
that
And then
hammer's
on our
gonna
next
fucking
diagram of
fall,
the map, we see
dude.
something called Alcatrazosis,
Wow.
which shows what appears to be a sort of genetic replication within the prison itself, with what appears to be chromosomes going through the stages of prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. And that is the most my biology major will ever help on this channel. With this Alcatrazosis in mind, if we look at the overhead view of what
heavens,
the prison itself
Murgatroyd.
looks like, it appears to be a giant animal cell. The bound chromosomes being that of the nucleus. The
But I
various
got
other
some pretty
structures can
fucking,
be
I got some
organelles,
badass,
and it seems that the sort of redacted
I got
thing
some
that the
good
camera
gear,
panned
let me
to
tell
earlier
you.
can be identified as
I'm
the
pretty
Golgi
fucking,
apparatus. Essentially, it's saying that
I'm
the
prepared
entirety
like a
of the
damn
island
Boy
is a
Scout.
living organism. So the next day, we see this radiation
Like a
therapy
fucking
in its
Vietnam
first
vet.
session. We then see a diagram of how Alcatraz is producing
Bless all the
its move
Vietnam vets out
from
there. Thank you for
1950
your
to
service.
the
You
present
men
day
are
and beyond.
amazing.
However, whenever we
As
go
long as
back
you're
to
not
our
trying to
standard
rob
camera
me.
view, we see that there is a lot
Boy,
of
oh boy.
Alcatraz, and it's everywhere. And
How
it's
many
getting really
dishonorable
close, and this
fucking
is happening
Marines
a
are
lot
involved
faster
in
than
this
the
shit,
timeline said it
man?
would. The final message of the
There are
video
some
says, as of
dishonorable
2020, the
motherfuckers.
Alcatraz zone extends to West Texas, which
How
is
many Marines are
alarming,
doing this?
again,
Talk
to say
about
the
some
least. So
dishonorable
right now, after
motherfuckers,
3
man.
episodes, you probably have a lot of questions.
There
and
are some
everything's
dishonorable
confusing, and
Marines
it's a
out
lot of
there,
really
let me
weird
tell ya.
concepts. I promise it's going to get worse. But at the moment,
Oh
we saw
boy.
that the entire structure of Alcatraz
boy.
itself was a living creature.
The
As we saw
hoorah
that
thing, boy, oh
Alcatrazosis
boy.
part, which is a play on words
Just
of
what this looks
mitosis
like to
and
the
meiosis.
Marines alone.
Again, thank you, Major. That never helped besides that, but anyway. We see that this Alcatraz island was
Yeah,
beginning to
and it
replicate
ain't going
itself
away.
and make its movement towards the mainland.
And
Also,
it
remember
ain't
that mention
going
of
away.
radiation therapy in the episode? And it may seem weird for that to be your
Nobody's
takeaway,
gonna
considering all
forget
the other
this
weird
shit,
stuff that
man.
happened.
Ain't
But for now,
nobody
remember
gonna
that
forget this
radiation
shit.
got shot.
Anybody
Remember
that
how I
knows
said it's
about
going to
this
get
shit
worse?
ain't
Well, here we go.
never
In the
gonna
next
forget
episode, Dean Democracy, we are shown a documentary.
it. Some
of America's
people are gonna want to
37th
get it off
president.
their
In the
chest
documentary,
before
we
they
see that the
die.
news anchor for ABC began hyping up the
I'll
audience,
guarantee
saying that
you.
in 1 week there
There's
was
gonna
the
be all
greatest year for the
kinds of
American people.
confessions.
Everyone was so excited to see what this announcement
There's
was
probably
that 60
confessions
million
happening
people were
as
watching at the
we
time that
speak.
the anchor said the announcement would be given. It turns out that this gift was the famous
Yeah,
actor
you
James
are drawing
Dean's
death to
presidential
your life.
announcement,
That is
which
what
for
you're
the
doing
entirety of
every
the
time you
announcement,
do
he
that.
just said he wants to end the
You're
Vietnam
drawing
War,
death
and that's all
into
it
your
took, and
life
people
by
loved it
wishing
as
death on my
parties
life.
were obsessed with him. We see over the course for the rest of the
You are
documentary
just
that
bringing
Dean
death
was
to your life
ridiculously popular, to the point that Nixon, the person who
every
in the real
time you
world was
say
the
that
37th
shit.
president,
Death gets
tells
closer
James
and
Dean
closer
that
to
Dean
you.
is a far better president than Nixon
It's just,
himself could ever be. However,
I
we see
can't
that people
imagine
who
being
do
this
not like
fucking
James
dumb,
Dean, and in
dude.
particular do not like modern Americans' reliance on pop culture and technology,
I mean, hey,
form a
I'm
group
dumb in
known
my
as
own
the
ways, I guess,
Anti-Dean
but
Association, or the ADA.
I really
So
do
much
feel
so
like
that they
I've got
cut
a
down
few
power
more
lines
IQ
in
points than
the
these
South
fucking
so
people.
that Dean's television campaign cannot be aired. To which Dean himself, being the super suave guy,
I
goes
didn't
down
let
to the
this
South
shit
and
happen,
begins removing
folks.
power lines himself.
This
However,
is
a small subset of people dislike
hundreds of
Dean so
thousands of
much that
people
they begin a campaign in which they quite literally say that
working
James Dean
very
is the
hard
devil.
every
And that's not a
day
euphemism or like an analogy
at
at all. Like
keeping me
Lucifer
held
came from
underwater.
hell and then put on a James Dean mask, and that's what James Dean is. Despite
This
a
isn't
small
something
amount
I
of
let
very
happen.
outspoken
This was a
haters,
very
James Dean
forceful
won
effort on the
75%
part
of the
of
popular
a
vote,
lot of
winning the
people.
election in a near landslide. And just
This,
to prove
this
how
was
small
all
and
through
macho he
force
is,
that any of
the
this
day he
took
won,
place.
he just went and raced
Under
race cars
duress,
with Richard Nixon,
through
as well as
force.
giving his first presidential address at a raceway
This
in
is
which
not
he only
something that
spoke
I've
for less than a minute,
neglected to
and
take
then
care
had
of,
people
or
like Native
etc.
Americans and Martin Luther King, who's still alive in this
I've
universe,
made many
speak in his
attempts.
stead. He also played
Well, first
bongos
of all,
at the
it's
end
so
of his address,
traumatizing
which I
to
felt
even,
was important
for me to
have.
even
As
just
a
do
matter
what
of
normal
fact,
people
people loved
do
him so much
and deal with
that
my
on April
family's
20th of
financials and shit.
1969, whenever he gave
It's
his
been
90-day
traumatizing from
address
day
in
one. I
office,
mean, like,
the audio cut out shortly into the
you go
address,
to
which
look
means
at
no one
your
could hear
shit,
him.
and it's so
But people were
traumatizing
so obsessed with
and
him that they
heartbreaking and
liked it even
difficult
more
and
because they said
just
just
a
seeing his
fucking
expression and
mess,
face and
dude.
how
What a
happy and young
fucking
and pretty and
mess.
smart he looked
I mean,
was enough to
I'm an
convince them that he was
accountant.
doing a great job,
I do
even though
accounting
they
work,
literally
man.
had no idea what he
I'm a
was saying. It
secretary.
even says that
I'm a
Stanley
business
Kubrick called the
associate,
address the
business
greatest
business
silent film of all
administration
time. And that's the
professional.
end of Dean Democracy. So
I
if
know
it
how to
wasn't
sort
clear
through
enough
financial
already
stuff,
that the
okay?
series is based on an alternate history, we now see
To a
that the
pretty good
37th president
degree.
in this world is James Dean.
All
And
right.
he's not going to be the only
And this
presidential
shit
ship that we see throughout the series. And I've got a lot to
is
say about
such a
James
mess.
Dean, but you don't have the information on it yet. And
A
if I just spoke about it
traumatizing
now,
mess
I'd
of
sound like a crazy
betrayal
conspiracy theorist. Well, I
and
guess I always sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist. But I'd sound
lies
especially like one
and
if you had absolutely
just
no
really
idea what I was talking
horrible,
about.
horrible,
So I'll hold it for now, but we'll come back
horrible
to
shit,
in the
baby.
next episode, Air
Horrible
Force One
shit.
Angel. We
Horrible
see that on
people
August the
and
17th
horrible
of
shit.
2003, Air Force
Things you
One
don't
took
want to
a
know.
random trip across the
Things you
United
don't want to
States.
know
If you've
about
been paying
people you
attention,
wish
you may recognize that August the 17th
you
of
didn't have to know
2003
it
is
about.
the same day that the events at Mount Rushmore began.
That's
to take
what we're
place.
finding
So
here,
on that
folks.
day,
We're
Air Force
finding
One went
people
across
you
the
would
country
never
and
guess
secretly dropped packages at national
are
monuments.
doing
As a
harm
matter
to
of
me.
fact, the three that we
Are
see
doing harm to
dropping the
me.
packages at is
People
that
that
of Mount
are
Rushmore, that of the Golden Gate Bridge, which
thought
can
of as
also be
very good
Alcatraz because the two
people,
are right next
and
to each other, and the Statue of Liberty. All three
it's not a
places
good thing,
that we
folks.
have seen
There's a
these
lot of bad
supernatural
people
or cosmic
that
events
are
take place at. We then see from video footage that there was
posing
something
as good people
inside
in
of
this
Air
world.
Force One after it landed. And as a
A
matter
lot
of
of bad
fact,
people
the White
posing as
House
good people
confirms
in this
that the
world.
flight was entirely unmanned.
And they're
So
getting away
whatever
with
flew the
posing as
plane
good
and dropped
people.
off those packages acted alone and was this creature seen on camera, which has been referred to as the Angel. So whatever
We're
this
talking
angel
about
was,
people that
managed
are willing to
break into
sacrifice
Air
my
Force
life
One, fly
to
to these
steal my
monuments,
money.
and drop
Okay?
packages. Seemingly, as we can see from more,
And some of the
led
people
to
that have done
whatever
this,
the big spiked face event was. And in the description for that video, it says that there was no break-in detected on Air Force
respected
One. However, there was odd
people
warping
with
of the
respect.
plastic around the door of the plane. So there's a seemingly supernatural creature known as the Angel. We'll
have
come back
done
to
this.
him too. Our next episode, Lincoln Looker, opens
People
with
that are
someone by the name of
respected
Miles
people
Arnoldson
that
describing
deserve
what
absolutely no
is.
fucking
She
respect
says that she was abducted from her house one
whatsoever.
night, and then for 2 weeks she was placed in a metal seat behind a sort of mask. She said that the smell was
The
awful,
most
and every few
dishonorable
nights someone would place a straw
motherfuckers
through
you
the
could even
eyelids, to
imagine.
which she drank this weird soup from.
It
However,
don't get
after
much
2
more
weeks, they realized they
dishonorable
got
than
the
these
wrong
fucking
person,
people,
to
man.
which Reagan himself apologized to Maya, and she was financially compensated.
Death
And they
before
didn't really care
dishonor?
if she
Well,
told her story to anyone because no one would believe something
none
so
of these
ridiculous.
folks believe
Maya
that.
then shows a picture of what
These
this
people,
face
their
is,
honor
and
ain't
it
shit
looks
to
very
them.
reminiscent
They
to
could
that
care
of
less
Abraham
about their
Lincoln.
honor.
We then hear an interview from a former advisor.
Always talking about the
Lincoln Oral,
content of someone
who
else's
says
character
that
when they're
the
just the
Lincoln
most
Looker
fucked
is a
up
position
motherfuckers you've ever
appointed
met
by
in your
every
life.
president at the beginning of their term. There's no trial, no court date, and whoever the president wants to be a Lincoln Looker is simply
Cowards.
made one, and a false story of what happened to them is made up in their place. So it seems that
Cowards,
whatever this Lincoln
thieves,
Looker is, the president themselves assigned someone
predators,
to it, and it's not contested at all.
lurkers,
and they are simply
stalkers.
placed behind this mask that Maya set behind. We then see in the next part that there are rumors that people are being imprisoned behind presidential portraits. However, whenever we see the paintings taken down, there is nothing behind there, and there's no way a Lincoln Looker could be sitting behind it. However, in the next part of the video, we hear a phone call from Howard Melrose. Howard said that he was visiting the Lincoln Monument whenever he began hearing scratching coming from within the monument itself. Howard, as well as several other visitors, began attacking the monument, thinking someone or something to be trapped inside. And whenever the marble cracked, Howard began filming, to which we see Lincoln's head move and something begin to come out from within it. So the reason that there was nothing found behind the Lincoln portraits is because it's not the portraits, it's the Lincoln statue itself. And also, if you'll remember on Mount Rushmore, in addition to the blood of liberty, it says the souls of Lincoln will be avenged. So we can assume that this is relating to that, and whoever made that graffiti also knew about the Lincoln Looker. However, at
Yeah,
the
we
moment,
hear you loud and
know
clear,
why
Scott.
it would be someone just placed within the statue itself, or whatever that was that came out of the head. But again, we're just getting the puzzle pieces right now. All the analysis.
The whole world can hear
This
you.
is where you're supposed to be confused.
We're
In the
real
next
proud of
episode,
you.
Washington Wormhole, we get our first real idea of what's going
I'm
on.
sure you'll be
We open
behind
with
bars
a
before you
poem
know it.
about something known as the special tree, and specifically how the special tree became
You're on your
sad
way back to
after the
prison.
lumberjack cut down all of its friends. So the special tree made a tune that, quote, breaks his lung.
You're on your way
We're then
back to
shown a
protective
timeline which
custody.
says in 1840, the first photograph of the special tree was taken, to which we can see this decrepit sort of skinny tree coming out of the ground. And then in 1848, a monument began to be built around it. This monument being the Washington Monument itself.
You know what'll be a
Then, during the
scary
Civil
day for
War
one of
from
these people in
1861 to
jail? The day when they're
1865,
sitting there next to their
construction
cellie and their
halted on the
cellie gets a
monument.
letter from
However,
me.
prisoners were seen being let inside. Remember how, like, the graffiti said there were
Just
executions
because I know
happening
a lot
at
of
these
people that are
monuments?
locked up.
And
you
at
know.
the Statue of Liberty, we heard about immigrants being let inside at night. And now here at the first days of the Washington Monument, we're hearing about people being let inside. Yeah. And then in 1888, it says construction was complete. In 1910, construction of the monument was finished, and it became a large tourist attraction,
No, I
with the
specifically
message
probably
saying
would
that there
never
is
write
music
somebody
within
that
its
was
walls.
locked up
This
with
is
one of
definitely
these
in
people.
reference to the poem at the beginning
I would
that said the
definitely
special
have to
tree
watch
could
the
make
right
a certain
one.
tune. And then from 1910 to 1971, 20
I have no
individuals
time for such fucking
disappear
shit, man.
at the monument. And these people are known as the
And if there's
Washington
people incarcerated,
absentees. Then in
shouldn't
1972,
be.
something known as the Washington
That's why I
Standard
wanted to become
Operation
a
comes to
lawyer.
light. In it, we can see people being led
One of the
inside
reasons.
of the monument itself, hoisted up into the air as sound waves seem to render them unconscious or kill them entirely before the floor drops out of the bucket they're in and they fall to the ground, before someone else comes in to repeat the process. Then in 2000, the monument is vandalized, to which the graffiti says, "The infection is nigh, the music of Washington will end." Not only is this written the same way as the graffiti on Mount Rushmore, but there it is again, a mention of infection. And then in 2003, we see a video clip in which the monument has a gash in its side with something coming in and out of it, before the entire monument itself bends over and lightning strikes in the arc of it. The final message says that all 19 Washington absentees were found unconscious at the base of it. And you may be asking yourself, weren't there 20 of them? And there were, and then in the description it says the 20th Washington absentee has been identified. What's really cool about this one is the first time I listened to it, and if this is your first time listening to it, you probably have a lot of questions, but after watching the entire series and then going back on my second watch through, that line, the 20th Washington absentee has been identified, is absolutely like, oh my gosh. And it's an indication to me that Alex is not only doing a fantastic job at telling the story, but he's had all of this planned out from the beginning. But for now, big takeaways. The Washington Monument was also associated with the other monuments that had events take place at them and graffiti put on them. And it seems that people were being sort of sacrificed to this creature in the same way that they were at the Statue of Liberty. However, unlike the Statue of Liberty, we have a perfectly clear idea of what's in the monument. It seems that the creature within the Washington Monument is this special tree. As a matter of fact, this tree seems so important that the monument itself was built as a sort of cage or monument to the tree itself. However, whenever this event went down in 2003, when it did the whole bendy lightning thing, everyone was found at the base of it just unconscious. But before we try to unpack all of that, let's make it even more complicated and go to the next one. In the next episode, Delaware Double, we see a news report from the Delaware River Journal. In this video, we see that on Christmas Eve at 4 p.m., two men were walking down the Delaware River when they saw what appeared to be a bicorn, or one of those pointy revolutionary hats, frozen on top of the water. They go out to it and realize that that hat is connected to a person. They dig the person out, take him home, to which the person briefly wakes up and says victory or death before falling asleep again. After taking him to the hospital, the men realize that the frozen guy that they had sitting in their bathtub was George Washington. Like the George Washington, the one and only. To which the men theorized that perhaps George Washington fell into the Delaware River while crossing it, was frozen, to which his men assumed he was dead and replaced him with a double. To which President James Dean, because again, that's a thing in this universe, replies to this news by simply saying, "I'm surprised." And that's it. That's the whole episode. It's just like George Washington's alive, and it just drops that in your lap. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, that doesn't really go anywhere. Just George Washington is an active character in this story, and don't you forget it. I've got theories later for why I think this happened and why I think George Washington was there in the river at the modern day. And also, I'll qualify this later, but this news report took place in 1976. And I'll explain all of that later, but I'm not kidding. Like, George Washington doesn't come back, at least not yet in the series. But he's there, whatever that means. In the next video, Rockefeller Tree Tragedy, we see two different accounts of the same event. One by John D. Rockefeller, who we know as the famous oil tycoon, and the other by Virginia Arnoldson. Rockefeller's version is titled A Recollection of the Tragedy, and Virginia's is titled Virginia in Wonderland. Now, this video itself sets up a ton of the concepts and is the catalyst for pretty much everything else that happens throughout the series. So if I emphasize something now and it doesn't make a ton of sense, it'll probably matter later. Initially, Rockefeller tells us that as the Rockefeller Plaza was being built, the workers put together their own Christmas tree. Rockefeller was so impressed by this that he decided he was going to get the best tree he could from the forest, bring it into the plaza so that they could have a legitimate Christmas. This would also then be the beginning of the tradition of the giant Christmas tree in Rockefeller Plaza. In Virginia's account of the story, in Virginia in Wonderland, we have a young girl tell the story of how Rockefeller went looking for a tree in the woods one day before he heard a very pretty tune, to which we can then see he found the special tree, or more specifically, the special tree that the Washington Monument was built around. He tries to have this one cut down, and that doesn't work. He tries to blow it up to get it out of the ground, and that also doesn't work. So he pays a group of grave diggers to try to dig it out, to which it takes them 4 years. We then switch back over to Rockefeller's account of events, to which he says his tree caused a great loss at the plaza. Before he can really explain what that loss was, we cut back over to Virginia's story. In it, we can hear her tell of how the men put up the tree and then the mayor glued branches to it to make it look more
Well,
attractive.
that was a close
Virginia
call with that
decided
tree
that she
fucking
wanted to
Troy.
put the first ornament
Dude,
on the
he's
Christmas
probably
tree.
just like, what
She saved up her money to be able to buy a star to hang
Yeah,
on. However,
he's
after the
been
men
so
leave and she
shitty to me
approaches
for
the
so
tree,
long.
she realizes that the
But,
branches are too high for her to
he
reach.
loves to
Because
sit
of this,
around and
she
judge
gets
other
10
people.
of her closest
One of
friends to
his
come
favorite
over,
things to do.
and they assemble
You
a
can tell
ladder
I'm
out of
related.
each other so that she can climb up to the top and place her star at the top of the tree. However, whenever Virginia
One
does
thing they
this,
taught me how
the
to
tree
do
bows
is judge.
exactly like the special tree mentioned in the Washington
I try
Monument.
not to judge
And just
people,
like that
but,
tree,
you
lightning
know,
begins to shoot from within
there's
the
so
monument.
much to
And she
judge,
says
you
that
know.
as they tried to run away, the lightning got to each of them. She says that her and all of her friends were then teleported to a field of special trees. And the audio cuts off before she reads it, but if you pause the video,
Super
you can see
funny
the
that he
text
tried to
says,
fucking.
a man
What was he
came
gonna
to
do?
her and
Race out
said,
of here
the
with me in the
trees are
fucking
not
car?
trees.
Stupid.
Suddenly it cuts and she's back on the street with her friends as if nothing happened. However, the tree was gone, and after further examining the plaza and the street around it, the entire city looked just a little bit different. We then cut back to Rockefeller's telling of events, in which he says that yes, no life was lost at the plaza that day. However, he would almost rather a life have to be lost instead of the unfathomable event that occurred. We then come back to Virginia's side of the story, in which she says she was pretty scraped up from the whole falling tree and teleporting incident. However, she says that her mom and dad looked just a little bit different. They were similar enough that she could tell they were her parents, but something was off. Not only that, her parents felt the same way about her, asking her why her clothes looked different, why she had freckles on her face, and other small notices like that. Another question they asked her is if she had hung her teddy bear on the tree. If you'll remember, it was not a teddy bear that Virginia bought to put on the tree, it was a star instead. Again, another discrepancy. It wasn't long before every parent came to the same conclusion that their children were just a little bit different. As a matter of fact, two of Virginia's friends, Orville and Philip, had different last names from their parents. All of the parents began to freak out. And yell and scream before the nurses get everyone to leave. Virginia says that Rockefeller himself came to visit them in the hospital, and along with the nurses began to ask them questions about American history. However, whatever they were answering ended up scaring Rockefeller. Not only that, but after the nurses take x-rays of the children, Virginia overhears them saying, everything is backwards. We then cut back to Rockefeller's telling of events, who says that the parents are convinced that their children are doppelgangers and that their real children have disappeared, and these kids only look similar to them but are in fact not their children. To which Rockefeller then says the line, all of the children told me that I was the richest man in America as a rich oil tycoon. That's not true. I am president of the United States, or at least I was for 2 terms. So again, we have another discrepancy in the presidency, because we have Rockefeller being the president, similar to how James Dean is the president within this world. But the kids remember the Rockefeller that we know, the rich oil tycoon. However, the Rockefeller they're talking to is not the same Rockefeller. In his closing thoughts, Rockefeller ponders on the tree and says maybe he's just a hopeless victim in this entire ride of life, and perhaps the tree chose him to be the one to carry out this fate. Then at the end, there's a quote from John Rockefeller Jr., who says that his father thinks the tree disappeared, and that's not true, because Rockefeller Jr. says that he's seen the tree walking in the plaza, and that it resembles a man far more than any tree. And then at the end, we see a video of something on top of a building in Rockefeller Plaza, and then a lightning flash before the camera cuts. All right, I know that was a lot, but you're being very brave, and I'm proud of you. But to make that a bit more digestible, Rockefeller goes and finds one of these special trees, places it in the middle of the plaza. Virginia and her friends come and touch it, to which it does the DC monument thing where it bends and lightning shoots out everywhere. The kids go to this sort of distant land full of trees that I'm going to refer to as Wonderland for now, because that's what Virginia referred to it as in her retelling of events. A man says that the trees are not trees before they're all teleported back to the plaza. Their understanding of world events and even their parrot seems a little disjointed. And then finally, the nurses say that inside of them, everything's backwards. And then finally, whenever this tree is on the top of the building within the plaza, it has a lightning flash similar to both the one we saw at the DC monument and what happened to the children in this story. I could start breaking that down, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to keep going. The next video, Canyon Crown, opens with what appears to be a really goofy sort of movie maker home video of a trip to the Grand Canyon. It starts out relatively normal until the text says, "Then I saw something really weird," and then we quote to this floating thing that we haven't seen before, and there's a very weird noise mentioned. As well as the quote, "It's made the whole place smell like vinegar." This is before we see a cut of this massive thing emerging from behind a cliff, and we're then introduced to the most important character in the entire story, Mr. Squirrel. He's important and I love him. At the end of the slideshow, it says, "We did research and figured out that this creature is something known as a canyon crown, and it uses vinegar to shrink its head back onto its body." It then says that we went on this trip to find Aunt Maya, and I think that was Maya. Before the video ends, showing us random images of headless men standing by the Grand Canyon and standing in front of a sign that says "Head Off Trail." Haha, very funny. I don't even know if it's worth beginning to analyze that now, because it's not going to make sense without context from anything else. The one thing I will say is, remember how she said, and at the end of the video we figure out that this person's name is Lauren. So remember how Lauren said we went to find Aunt Maya? I think that was Maya. If you'll remember, the other time that we heard Maya mentioned was Maya Arnoldson, who was falsely put as a Lincoln Looker for 2 weeks. This girl's name at the end is mentioned to be Lauren Arnoldson, so it's reasonable to assume that Aunt Maya Arnoldson is the Maya Arnoldson mentioned in Lincoln Looker. But that may seem confusing. Like, why was she a Lincoln Looker and made to sit in the statue? Why did they even put people in the statues? And now why is she the giant floating meatball thing? These are all questions that will be kind of answered near the end. Next up on the docket is Freedom Fowler. I'm sorry. I'm just now kind of realizing, without context going into this, this has to be a lot of just like the weirdest stuff you've ever heard at once. And in the beginning I said try not to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist. I am definitely doing that right now. And I apologize, but this one's going to make it way worse. I will try to help at the end, but I'm so sorry. Freedom Fowler opens with excerpts from a series of exchanges that took place in 1858. What they're discussing is the contracting and construction for the Statue of Freedom. We see in this telegram conversation that an architect says to an engineer, "Freedom must stand on Capitol Dome." The engineer then tells the sculptor that they would like a design for a lady to stand at the top of the Capitol building. After several weeks, the engineer asks the sculptor again if the statue is ready, to which a detective tells that engineer that the sculptor has died and they're sending Freedom on a ship known as the Monarcho. Freedom is the name for the real-world statue that sits on top of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. This is describing the construction of that statue itself. In Part 2, Daughter, we see a story from someone known as Nina Crawford. Nina Crawford is the daughter of the aforementioned sculptor who built the Freedom statue itself. We see that Nina asked her father to make a statue that looks like herself. However, on April 10th, her dad left for the studio and never came home. After Nina's mom goes to look for him, she comes back home and locks herself in the bedroom before investigators and the police come, to which the mom continuously yells she has his eyes to the police. Nina, who overheard that Freedom would be sent on the Monarcho, finds the ship in port and then crawls into the box that is housing the parts of freedom. Nina says that she can feel her father's presence within the box and around freedom, and she hopes that she will be shipped to wherever her father is, not understanding her father's fate. She also mentions that freedom feels alive, and even more eerily, has her father's eyes. Every night she can hear what sounds like freedom moving in the darkness, until one day freedom breaks out of the box, grabs Nina, and begins to sprint through the jungle. As freedom is running, the statue is chopping down trees before it crawls into a very deep cave. Nina says that as she is riding, freedom is continuing to sharpen its sword and just stare at Nina. We then move on to part 3, Captain, which is a transcript from the captain of the Monarcho. He describes that every day there would be loud noises and boxes being moved, as well as damage to the ship. This continued over the course of several days until they get to the port in Gibraltar. Whenever they get there, they open up Freedom's crate to show to custom agents. However, Freedom is entirely missing. We then move on to part 4, Commissioner. In it, he says that on April 29th, something destroyed the trees moving up the mountain in Gibraltar. The trees were perfectly cut in a straight line all the way up the mountain until they eventually arrive at a cave. After going into the cave, they find the statue standing there with a hollowed out torso wrapped around it, and next to it, destroyed remains of somebody. They then hoist the statue out of the cave and begin to send it on its way to the United States, where it was originally supposed to go, and officially chalk everything up that happened to the wind. No, I'm not kidding. We then move on to part 5, The Craftsman, which is by someone named Philip Reed, who describes that whenever he came to the port in the United States, he did not see a statue laying in the boat. Instead, a large woman holding a sword and shield. And the men say that whenever they got the statue to the port in Gibraltar, it just started fighting and killing everyone and kept using their skin to make skin for itself until it was now a completed person. Reed himself was charged with peeling the skin off of the statue, which he did, and afterwards the statue, which was now back in its original form, was completely immobile. So they just put that thing up on the Capitol. The thought process is so funny to me because it's like, yeah, we want to pay this contractor to make us a statue.
I've never seen my brother's dick ever in my life.
Whenever it shows up,
I have
it's just
no
a
idea.
woman. And they're like, oh, well, it was a
Maybe
statue,
when he was a little baby or
but
something.
it killed like hundreds of sailors.
Yeah, when he was
in Europe
younger, when he was
and
little,
put their
like
skin on.
getting out
That's
of the
why it's a
bath or
woman
something.
now. And the government's
Yes, I
like,
have.
oh, but we can still get the statue out of there, right?
remove that
We then
memory.
cut more to modern day with part
think I
6,
must remove
Sculpture,
that memory.
in which it says that during the January
fucking
6th
starving. I'm
protest,
gonna order some food.
insert joke about modern politics
I want my
tied to
mail.
media. We're moving on. That on
Can't
January
even go
6th
get
of
my fucking
1977, the aforementioned anti-Dean administration
I
had an
have stuff
attack
in the
on the
mail.
Capitol. During the
Yeah,
attack,
check
several
my
of the
fucking-
shot down freedom. To which we then get what is, in my
I'm
opinion,
going to
the
check
most
on my
horrifying video
packages.
in the entire series, in which it's really hard to make out if you don't know what you're looking for. But that big thing leaning over the doorway is the Statue of Freedom that has now gone ballistic and is slaughtering people. We later find out that the statue killed 150 people that day. However, it was officially chalked up to it just falling off and somehow crushing 150 people in the fall. And that is the end of the Freedom Tower. This series isn't exactly horror, in my opinion. Like,
Okay, let's
yeah,
see
there's
here.
I would much more consider
Walmart.
it like a conspiracy thriller to anything like, scary or horror or whatever. However, the idea of a 30, 40 foot giant iron lady with the sword and shield running you down so she can skin you to make a human out of herself is like top 10 worst things ever. Also, I tried to look up pictures of the real Freedom Fowler to make myself feel better about it, and I didn't. But oh my gosh. However, what we can put together from that story for the story is that Thomas Crawford, who originally built the statue, succumbed to it in some way, and that's what Nina's mother meant by it has his eyes. In a later episode, it's confirmed the thing you're probably already thinking, but the body that was found in the cave with the statue was the body of Nina. So it already killed her to try to make a human out of itself. hence the hollowed out torso being placed on the statue within the cave. However, that whole mention that Nina had, she could feel her dad's presence with the statue, is later echoed later in the series, which I'm kind of jumping the gun a bit, but it helps with this explanation. It says that they're still alive within the statue, at least Nina and Thomas are. So potentially, whatever's happening with this statue is supernatural enough that if it takes on someone's body, a part of them is still connected to it. We'll explain why later, but it's not just a physical, like the statue wants skin. It in some way is taking people's souls or essence. We also there at the end got another mention of the Anti-Dean administration, as they were the ones who shot down freedom, and they're going to come back later. But for now, the statue on the top of the Capitol is one of the most terrifying creatures ever. So that's the end of season 1. So season 1 is primarily giving you pieces of the puzzle that are completely separate from each other. Like all of those, in my opinion, are cool stories in their own right and can serve
March
as sort
16th.
of creepy, Lovecraftian ideas of horror, but they don't really
Arrives
go
by
further than
March
that. And season 2 is still that, but
12th.
there's a lot more connecting stuff. Not
Maybe
only
there
from
isn't
its own
anything in my
episodes,
mail.
but things that make season 1 make a whole lot more
Guess that's
sense.
fine.
So without further
Arrived
ado,
at
let's go
UPS
ahead
Regional
into season
Origin
2. The
Facility.
first episode of season 2 is titled Maze Movie Maker.
Oh,
I didn't
so it
mention
is
at the
there?
time because it wouldn't have made a lot of sense, but in the description of the Canyon Crown video, it says that the video was made on Maze Movie Maker. At the
Delivery
beginning,
information.
it says that a new computer system known as Popcorn is coming out, made by Maze. We then get a further description of this company known as Maze when it
This
shows
fucking retard in his fucking motorcycle. What an idiot.
across the United States.
God, he's an idiot. Sounds like a fucking mini bike.
We're then shown another message that says that
Oh,
there's a
in
recall
Los
of all
Angeles.
personal computers that outbreaks have been
USP
reported.
as
Says
tracking
the Fourth
plus
Amendment rights do
available.
not apply. In other words, what's happening
Change
here
delivery
is the
instructions.
government is trying to get a hold of all personal computers immediately. We then take it down a notch and get a timeline of the company itself. It says that in 1960, Maze Mechanics was founded by Rob Careers and Rob Watroba. Then in 1969, President Dean established something known as the Department of Technology, which united computer corporations together. Furthermore, in 1970, it says that Maze invented the first at-home computer and video camera system. This is all well and good until in 1972, it says that Maze and the Department of Defense partnered to control something known as the True Forces of Mass Destruction, also known as TFMDs. This is the first time in the series we've got a name or real acknowledgement of these giant creatures that inhabit the Earth. We then see something known as Project Horned Serpent, which seems to be a protocol to defend people from these TFMDs. As a matter of fact, the design of the serpent itself seems to match the idea of Maze plans making a wave across the country. We then see that in 1980, Maze is attacked, and for one image, we see what looks like the special trees, or very large variations of them, everywhere with lightning shooting out from the trees themselves. It then says that in 1990, the last at-home computer was shut down. So Maze goes from, in 1970, being the people who invent the first at-home computer, to 20 years later, they seem to be leading the front of trying to reclaim all of them. Most likely because of the attack that occurred in 1980. So what it looks like happened is Maze was trying to develop computers and be the forefront of technology, and then they got attacked in 1980 by whatever the special trees are, and then they immediately backtracked and wanted to shut them all down. We then see that in 2000, Maze developed the Maze Movie Maker.
What size did I get her?
So it seems like Maze went from being
Uh-oh, wait a minute. Out of stock.
computer and now back to pro computer. However, I've got a theory that it's technically not a computer.
Okay, wait a
and
minute.
Maze is kind of like making subversive technology, but we'll talk more on that later. However, we then
Currently
see a
out
video
of
that was
stock.
made by Maze Movie Maker that says it's under Maze's factory. Whoever's making the video says that they have to spread the word first and then leave graffiti on this Maze factory that says, "Beware the monuments, they are all connected, and the military-industrial complex grows." So whoever's making this video and is leaving this graffiti knows about the monuments, but the graffiti is also drawn in the exact same manner that it was on all of the monuments we saw in season 1. So we can kind of assume that whoever's making this video is either the same person or at least connected to whoever was making that graffiti. We then see a diagram of the cave itself that the person who's recording is walking through. They say that the cave is wet and humid and the air feels charged. They then reach out their hand and touch a wall, to which lightning hits their hand. There is a large explosion and we get the message, do not visit these sites, they have not been fed in years. We then get the message at the very end of the video that this was filmed by Maya and Nathaniel Arnoldson. So now we finally have some stuff beginning to piece together. For one, this company Maze seems to be part of whatever monstrous secret is taking over the country. For one, in the locations we see the factories are made in the diagram, several of them line up with monuments that we know to have a secret or evil purpose behind them. But furthermore, beneath this factory, as well as probably several other factories, are these cave systems. And whenever they touch the walls and lightning jumps out, which then leads to this cataclysmic lightning explosion, it says not to come to these places because they haven't been fed in years. So if we can apply that logic to the rest of the series too, it seems that whoever, the government, Maze, or whatever body is doing it, is feeding people to these, for now, we'll consider them special trees or things similar to them. Like, for example, the DC Monument. We know a special tree to be inside of there, and that prisoners of war, as well as 20 Washington absentees, were sent into there. The same case with the Statue of Liberty. So if whatever these creatures aren't fed, they become very reactive and can cause things like we saw at the end of this video where the big electricity explosion happened. Perhaps the 1980 attack on a Maze facility was from these creatures not being fed. We'll see more details about what that is. But another interesting thing is the two people that made the video at the end. So it was Maya and Nathaniel Arnoldson. There's that name, Maya again. If you'll remember, Lauren, who made the Canyon Crown video, said that her dad took them to the Grand Canyon to find his sister, Maya. This will get proven later, but for now, I'll go ahead and tell you that that father is Nathaniel. So Nathaniel and Maya are brother and sister who have been working for some time to take down whatever shady corporation this is who is hosting these creatures, or at the very least knows of them and is sacrificing members of the public to them. And considering the graffiti they put up that says beware the monuments, they're all connected, and the fact that it looks the same as all the other graffitis that we saw earlier in the series, then we can reasonably assume that Maya and Nathaniel either also did those pieces of graffiti or are at least in league with whoever did. However, earlier in the series, in Canyon Crown, whenever Lauren said we were looking for Aunt Maya, I think that was Maya referring to the big crown thing. It seems like something really bad happened because between this video and that video, Maya went from running around with her brother trying to stop Maze or whatever's doing this whole monument thing, and she became the giant floating meatball. So something bad probably happened in there. Also, in the description of that video, it says, did you know that several photographs of President Dean have been manipulated to protect legitimate national security interests? I don't know what to make of that, but you have fun with it. In the next video, Suez Canal Crab, we see that on March the 23rd of 2021, a ship known as the Ever Given got stuck in the Suez Canal. This is obviously a parody of the Evergreen in real life. However, it's an alternate history thing, so you could kind of accept it as like a weird canon of the real world. I don't know. It's called the Ever Given, Evergreen joke, insert here, moving on. It then says that President Hillary Clinton... Okay. In this universe, Hillary Clinton was made president and announces a nuclear force is necessary to dislodge the ship. We then see on the diagram that the ship gets dislodged, turns towards land, and seemingly just starts floating across the land. And then on a device known as Twitter, I'm just going to call it Twitter, it's TWTPR, no one on the device is able to tell what happened. So, to establish a few things that get figured out later to make it make more sense now, I believe that after the whole Maze Movie Maker event in 1980, whenever they were attacked and they tried to shut down all.
Oh my
I
god.
believe that what happened is that attacks were caused by people using electronic devices like computers. So what it seems happened to me in this alternate history is technology went a slightly different route. Like, it can't be electricity that provokes them. It has to be something to do with internet, or I don't know. A lot of this explanation I'm doing is before the series is finished or even season 2 is finished, so I don't have all of the pieces yet. I'm doing my best. But these Twitter machines or devices seem to be a way of people communicating in a fashion similar to Twitter, but it seems to be a kind of analog screen and setup. So along with things like Hillary Clinton being president, even though society had to go a different route, it still came to a lot of similar conclusions. Except nuking the boat to dislodge it. That's probably a little out there. I believe here, however, that the government knows more than they're letting on. Since they said that the purpose of the nuke is so like the airwave or the blast wave would dislodge the boat. However, remember how in Alcatraz they treated the island with radiation therapy, and that's when the island went insane and everything happened? Well, even though the government said that the purpose of the nuke was just so the force would dislodge the boat, I believe that they know the radiation would awake something in order to move the boat, which it turns out that's exactly what happened. Video shows that the ship was walking on giant legs, and this thing titled the Suez Canal Crab simply picked itself up underneath the ship and just started walking through land. Governments of the world decided that the crab will not be destroyed as a means of not destroying all of the cargo, and instead the crab just simply begins carrying the ship through Egypt. We then are beginning to tell the story of something known as the 2021 Cairo Tower Stampede. According to the story, people at the Cairo Tower really wanted to get a better view of this crab as it went by. The tower became overcrowded, and the crab, for some reason, turned itself towards the tower and began walking towards it. However, as the crab got close, it tripped, crashing into the tower, which caused not only the cargo of the Ever Given itself to go
You
through
fucking
the tower,
stupid
but the
fucking
tower itself
whore.
to eventually collapse. All in all,
What in the fucking fuck?
1,150 people died in
Jesus
the crab
fucking
tower
Christ.
incident. And whenever the fall happened, the crab separated from
Okay,
the ship and began
security,
spewing blood
fucking
and other
durr.
bodily fluids all over the place.
God.
However, during this time, a group that we haven't
I get so fucking sick of this shit. I really fucking do.
decided that they were going to make this a important issue. They said that the issue with the ship is that it is full of something known as T machines, which are the devices that are used to get on this universe's form of Twitter. Again, further evidence, you need a whole analog box in order to access Twitter. Computers didn't progress the same way we know, blah, blah, blah. And the Anti-Device Association begins to make up a story that the entire purpose of this crab incident was just so Egypt could steal goods that were meant to go to the United States. So they began to promote the idea of Americans going over to Egypt
Password
and
manager.
taking as much stuff from the crashed Ever Given as
Jesus
they could
Christ.
manage. All in all, 12,000 Americans show up at the gates and try to get into the containment zone, which has now been set up and called the Cairo Exclusion Zone due to the giant monster crab that's spewing blood everywhere. However, someone shoots a guard and manages to get into the exclusion zone, to which then people just have a field day, stealing goods and ripping stuff out of shipping containers, and it eventually becomes a frenzy with people trying to steal cars, and then people finding guns and using that to shoot people who are stealing stuff they want. And all of the frenzy comes to a head when one of the
Oh, you
legs of the
fucking dumb fucking
causing
bitch.
everyone to panic and form a stampede. The stampede combined with the fluid everywhere that made people slip, and everyone having guns, so they shoot anyone that gets in their way, and the heat exhaustion led to the deaths of over 11,000 people. With only 944 of the 12,000
Thank you, you fucking
Specifically,
dumb
77
bitch.
of those people were found praying to the crab whenever
What?
rescuers came to get them, who said they were
Weird
told by a deity that if
a
they
fucking
they would survive. Those 77 survivors began a religion known as the Church of the Ever Given. The episode ends by telling us an American journalist who saw the carnage and aftermath of the stampede said it seemed that everyone was a giant mass of flesh, and that the Cairo exclusion site itself has now become a UNESCO heritage site. So I know that was a lot of information taken at once. This whole video has probably been a lot of information taken at once, and I'm sorry, but like I said, it gets worse. A lot of you who are familiar with the series may have realized that I've left some stuff out. But again, I'm trying to make this as
Alright, you fucking dumb fucking bitch.
gruesome details at the end.
You fucking
now let's move
stupid
into the
fucking
next
whore.
episode, Dean Disaster. Dean Disaster
Forgot my
opens
fucking
very
password, you
similar
stupid
to
fucking cunt.
Democracy, in which
God
it shows
damn,
a
you're a
news
fucking
anchor
bitch.
telling us to prepare for an upcoming news event. So similar to
What
the
the fuck
scene
would
in
my...
Dean
What is your favorite
Democracy,
food?
several people gather around their television screen before a hijacking takes place on May 13th of 1999. In it, the Anti-Dean Association shows an image of Dean as the devil before he opens his mouth, and air raid sirens are heard loudly playing. It turns out that what happened is the Anti-Dean Association managed to hijack the entire country's supply of air raid sirens and play them at such deafening noise it caused mass panic. As a matter of fact, the noise was so loud that anyone within 4 miles of the sirens suffered permanent hearing loss. This caused mass stampedes, it caused people on crowded freeways to get out of their cars and just begin running, and eventually the National Guard was tasked with shutting down air raid sirens. However, at each one of these air raid sirens, there was a pile of bodies ramping up to the siren itself because the sirens were so loud that if anyone was that close and spent any amount of time around it, it would cause blood vessels within their body to burst open. President Dean, being the hero as always, went out himself and turned off a siren near the White House, which gave him permanent deafness. After all the sirens across the country were turned off, it was such a sight of
You
mass
fucking retarded motherfucking whore.
blindfolds were issued to the military to give children so that they could walk children back to their house without them seeing the mass.
You fucking whore.
Dean wanted to go on the air to give the
You
presidential
fucking dumb fucking bitch.
from turning off the siren that he decided instead he would use those sirens to transmit his message through, and then for the now half of the country that's deaf, they could watch the captions as they're played out on TV. Dean tells the country that they have been attacked by the
Get off of me, you fucking bitch.
and now is not the time for playing nice, and it's time to get the people who hurt so many. Saying, quote, "We have places for them." It then says that hundreds of thousands of people were then reported to the police or arrested by the police in the following weeks, and they were sent to new special prisons that were built conveniently around American monuments like Rushmore and the Washington Monument. And the families of those who were sent say they come back with a much more pleasant demeanor and very friendly. However, they also appear a little bit different. Despite this, people note such a personality change in those who come back from the monument prisons that several people asked to be voluntarily sent there themselves. Okay, so pause. We know that there's these creatures in monuments and people are being fed to them. So it's real convenient that this terrorist attack happens that justifies hundreds of thousands of people being sent to these monuments all across the country at the same time. Isn't that just weird? Not only that, but the families are reporting that they look a little different than whenever they left. Similar to Virginia and her friends whenever the whole Christmas tree zap attack happened. Again, a little weird. Mays, everyone's favorite tech company, decides to begin making hearing implants. The president himself gets one and is so moved by Mays themselves that is why he develops the Department of Technology as a means of uniting technology companies together so they can mass produce these hearing devices. This program goes so well for Mays and the other companies, and mass operations began taking place across the entire country. Also, it's mentioned at some point androids began giving surgeries. I'm not sure how relevant that is, but I felt like I should probably mention that. That by July the 4th, and remember the attack happened on May the 13th, the United States had completely eradicated deafness, with the mention in the description that people who were already deaf beforehand and didn't want to have the implants in were harassed, and some even ran out of the country. So I'm going to go ahead and say this now, and as with all of this stuff, I'll qualify to make it make more sense later. But Dean is evil. This is getting a bit into the end analysis, but after just telling you all that, I feel like it'd be easier to digest now rather than later. So a group of supposed terrorists somehow hack into the entire nation's siren supply at once and manage to make them go so loud that people literally die from it.
And then that is used like within the week to shuttle hundreds of thousands of people to these monuments, which, as we heard in May's Movie Maker, need to be fed or they get really, really mad. So now they're overfed with all these people. The people who come back out of them seem to be similar to Virginia and her friends from the Rockefeller tree, in that they've changed their body and personality. Again, we'll look more at the details of that later, but for now, the same thing that was happening to them is happening to these people. And then the next day, after the sirens were hijacked, they magically worked just fine, enough for Dean to deliver his address. And then the deafness itself is used as an excuse for the Department of Technology to be formed and Maze to become a super empire. Which, as we saw again in the Maze Movie Maker video from Maya and Nathaniel, Maze is up to some very shady stuff and have all of these caves underneath their factories in which these creatures are being fed, or at the very least used to be fed, and Maze knows about them. And like a lot of people who I saw talking about the monument mythos and stuff would say something along the lines of like, yeah, Dean may be a little creepy, but he hasn't really done anything yet. Like, oh my word, yes he has. Honestly, I'm with the Anti-Dean Association, and I think that they're being completely framed. I don't think they're responsible for any of that stuff's going on. I think Dean's doing it as a false flag operation. I think that this is just Operation Northwoods in alternate history form. And remember at the beginning where I said I'm not going to try to sound like a conspiracy theorist, and now I've brought up Operation Northwoods, so we're just going to move on. Our next video is titled Starry Sphinx and opens with a video titled TFMD on Mars. If you'll remember, TFMDs are in reference to true forces of mass destruction. In it, we can see a sphinx in the distance moving on the planet Mars. We then get audio that it says is an interview that was recovered from an arson scene. The audio is an interview with Leonard Moreland. If you'll remember, he is the senior advisor that was also mentioned in Lincoln Looker. Moreland says that the country of Egypt was against the American excavation. We don't really know what that is yet, but we will in a second. In our second video, titled TFMD Leaves Mars, we can see the previous figure of the Sphinx floating off into space. We then cut back to the interview, where it says that the pyramids themselves are TFMDs and were at the time humanity's biggest threat. There's also the mention Moreland gives that this is before the Dean administration classified humanity and climate change as TFMDs. That's further fuel to my fire that Dean's awful, by the way. He classified humanity as TFMDs, and I'm not really sure what the implications of that are, but I don't like it. We then see video numbers 3 and 4, which says TFMD enters atmosphere. Again, we can see the Sphinx entering the atmosphere. It then cuts back to the interview, and we hear that the Pharaoh had appointed guardians to cut the trees. However, they knew that they could never cut them down. They could only damage them, which would divert its energy towards repairs instead of growth. In the meantime, the Pharaoh knew that he could build towers around them as a means of better containing them. So here's another mention of those special trees. And these people in ancient Egypt could not cut them down, similar to how Rockefeller could not cut down that special tree. However, for whatever reason, which we're not entirely sure of yet, the ancient Egyptians did not want these trees to be able to grow. Then in videos 5 and 6, we see TFMD is attacked, in which these sort of orbs are seen being shot down to the ground. We then cut back to the interview that says that the pyramids go down infinitely and they were made to contain the trees. So ancient Egyptians, the pharaohs appointed these people known as guardians. It's also mentioned that they would take these substances as a means of keeping their body from tiring out, while they would spend all day damaging and cutting the trees, never able to cut it down, just slow it down. And that the pyramids were built solely for the purpose of containing these trees. However, the pyramids go down infinitely, and after several weeks of digging, the Americans who were trying to dig them up for some reason realized there was no end to them. Then in video number 7, we see TFMD's False Children Land, in which we see these orbs cut down and touch the corners of the Sphinx before a giant light flashes. This light flash being similar to the electric strikes and lightning that we've seen from previous entities. We then see in video number 8, it says false children organize into the starry Sphinx. And sure enough, those false children or glowing orbs that we saw are now in the shape of the Sphinx itself. It then says again for video number 8, distracts observers as the mothership flees, to which we look over and see that the real Sphinx is this giant ship or on top of a giant ship and is floating by.
And then for video number 9, it says the Great Pyramids rise, to which the Great Pyramids rise. Then for video number 10, it says the other pyramids awaken, to which we can see what looks like the Washington Monument, as several of it are all around, or at the very least several of these special trees are all around. We then get a diagram titled Present Situation, to which it shows us that there is one Sphinx and countless pyramids all around it, with the final message that this was produced by the Anti-Device Association. So, again, a lot. Basically, according to the interview, whatever this supernatural or cosmic phenomenon is, it's been going on for a really long time. The pharaoh himself was having workers slow down the trees and then contain them with these infinite pyramids. However, with whatever's happening now, with these false children or orbs coming to Earth, pyramids are beginning to rise. I know you're probably tired of hearing this at this point, but it'll make more sense with more context, so it's best if I just keep talking. I do also want to add, though, that in the description it says that Maze says there are no extraterrestrials. Now, in the description of nearly every video, it says that whatever message we're getting is from Maze. So I don't know if that is Alex telling us it's not aliens, even though it looks like aliens, or if that's Maze trying to subvert us from the fact that it definitely is aliens. If it's not aliens, then possibly the Sphinx went to Mars some time ago as a means of just being in wait before it was reactivated by whatever these pyramids are doing. I don't know, but for reasons that I'll mention near the end, and of all the topics in this entire series, the whole pyramid orb Sphinx false children thing is probably the one that we have the least information on right now. But I will say that I feel the Sphinx are the good guys, or at least not as evil as I think the special trees are. I'll explain why in the analysis part, but for now, that whole diagram where we see that there's one Sphinx and a lot of pyramids, or in other words, things made to cover the trees, that's a bad thing. Because if the Sphinx is one way, at least according to my theory, that trees can be countered, one of them for like the countless number of pyramids everywhere, and pyramids include things like the DC Monument and the various actual pyramids and all of that. Only having one Sphinx to deal with all those, not good. Giza Guardian begins with a message saying that, weather permitting, on July 4th there will be a live broadcast of the Starry Sphinx in Giza. Also, this message is presented by the Maze News Network, so it looks like the Super Tech Corporation got into the media too. Glad that doesn't happen in real life. And sure enough, during the newsfeed, we see the aforementioned false children arranged in the shape of the Sphinx itself, walking through the desert. We watch as these green orbs dance around and then transform into these ladders before they all become these rows of rings and then lightning strikes. We then see a presentation from somebody called Dr. Disturbing, called Project Giza Guardian. Dr. Disturbing is also the person who did the presentation on the Suez Canal crab. I'll talk about who he may be at the end. In Project Giza Guardian, we are told of the story of Giza glass. For thousands of years, the locals in Egypt knew that whenever a specific constellation arrives, lightning would strike the ground and create this rare material known as Giza glass. That is until 1870, when a British Egyptologist known as Flinders Petrie discovered the constellation and how to get to the glass first. The glass itself was made in these long shards and fragments and was incredibly sharp. So sharp, in fact, that while Petrie was moving some of it, he fell and decapitated himself on the glass. However, the most miraculous fact is that his head was still alive. However, as it was alive, it began to swell and discolor before the story of Petrie ends. It says that whenever the glass got back to England, the group of it known as Petrie's Lot, it was deemed unusable because of the small fragments that it was broken into. However, the British began to give it out to American ambassadors. However, eventually, whenever Rockefeller was president, he decided to gather up all the glass together because he
I love you, Beanie. I love you, honey. You are my boy. You sure are my boy. You sure are.
Who were given Giza glass blades
and set to guard the Grand Canyon. Anyone who was attacked by these swordsmen would be decapitated.
Get the fuck, dude. What the fuck, you fucking motherfucker?
Swelling side effects and allow the heads to return to their normal size and be placed back onto their body. If you're like me, this is really exciting because it connects a lot of dots, but we'll get there in a second. Victims of these swordsmen were given housing within the Grand Canyon itself, as well as a lifetime supply of this vinegar concoction, on the condition that they would lure enemies into the Grand Canyon to meet the same fate as themselves. The government claims that the Giza Guardian program was shut down in 1969 during the Dean presidency. However, sightings still occur to this day. We then completely changed gears and switched to an interview of the wife of Thomas Crawford. If you'll remember, Thomas Crawford was the designer and sculptor of the Statue of Freedom. During the interview, his wife Louisa says that Thomas absolutely hated America and originally had the statue designed
I sure love you.
of a freed slave, but whenever America told him to get rid of that design aspect, he became furious. During his design, Thomas went to Egypt to get Giza glass to construct the sword of the statue. The reason I mentioned him being mad about America not letting him use the freed slave design is because Louisa goes on to say that perhaps he went and got the Giza glass just because he was an honorable man who wanted to finish the job, but I feel like there may have been some malice to it. As he was working on the sword, he cut off his fingertip. However, after cutting it off, he could still feel and control it. Eventually, he did the same thing with his hand, and whenever he came home to her, said that he could still feel his hand all the way back at the workshop. It was shortly after this that Thomas left for several days, and whenever Louisa came to look for him, she found him completely inside of the mouth of Freedom. She says that it wasn't that Freedom came alive and did it to him, it's that he willingly cut up pieces of himself and shoved it inside of the statue. Hence her statement earlier that Nina said, in which Louisa said it has his eyes. Louisa then confirms that the remains found next to Freedom within the cave were that of her daughter Nina. Louisa then ends by saying that Thomas and Nina are still alive and inside of the statue, protecting America to this day. So for one, that's why earlier I was so sure to say that the body in the cave was Nina's, because it's confirmed here. But also this asks questions of who's controlling it. If Thomas initially did the voluntary movements of putting his body parts inside of the statue, then is he the one controlling it? Or is the statue itself alive and closely related to the other Giza Guardians that have been spoken about in this episode already? We then shift gears again and get a report that says the Delaware River Journal has shut down because of the George Washington story, and that the new Delaware Journal has taken its place. Remember the part I mentioned early on in this video, how George Washington's alive? Well, that was enough of a no-no that the state shut them down for it. The new Delaware Journal tells the story of how the Anti-Dean Association stormed the Capitol and attacked the Statue of Freedom. The official claim from politicians is that the person who installed the statue did a faulty job at it, and that's the reason it fell and killed 150 people. Interestingly, the person who installed it was Philip Reed, the person who, if you'll remember from the Freedom Fowler story, is the one who peeled the skin off of the Statue of Freedom. Also, very bizarrely, it says that Philip Reed has recently become a demonized character by the Anti-Dean Association. So if I'm right and the Anti-Dean Association is cool, then maybe they understand that Philip Reed skinning the statue was probably a bad move, or at least skinning the statue and then putting it on the Capitol building would be a bad move. But it's just an interesting detail that he is a figure they're looking down on historically. Sure enough, it says that Freedom is now being placed in the Grand Canyon, to which when President Dean was asked why he did it, Dean said, "The rocks won't shoot her down," which, haha, funny joke. But also, that means that Freedom is now where all of the other Giza Guardians are. And as we're going to see later, she definitely wasn't the first. So regardless if Freedom is Thomas controlling the statue, or if Freedom is one of these Giza Guardians who simply lured Thomas into her in the cleanest way possible, then it doesn't matter, because now she's in the Grand Canyon doing the same things that the other Guardians are doing. We then see that a journalist for the New Delaware Journal leaked a government file and has since been exiled to Egypt. That journalist was Howard Melrose. If you'll remember Howard Melrose, he was the guy from Lincoln Looker who helped the bystanders break open the Lincoln statue, and then whatever that thing was came out of the top of it. And I didn't mention it because there was a lot going on and I didn't want to further confuse everyone, but he was the reporter who gave a report at the site of the Suez Canal incident. Or more specifically, the part afterwards where all the bodies were jumbled together, and he was the one who said everyone was just one pile of flesh. That lines up with what we read here, that he was exiled to Egypt. So it seems that what happened to Howard is he was just an innocent bystander who witnessed the really weird event of the Lincoln Looker, or whatever was inside of Lincoln, coming out of the statue. So he decided to become a journalist and figure out what the government was up to. He leaked this file and has since been in hiding in Egypt, and while he was in Egypt, gave that report. In the leak, we see a description of how to handle anti-Dean Association members. We see a map of the Grand Canyon with the Statue of Freedom moving through it, attacking people who are trespassing. Freedom goes by each person, cutting off their heads, which we understand to be the Guardian's MO, until they get to the last one, and sure enough, the name is Maya Arnoldson. We then cut to a tape called The Last Words is Maya Arnoldson, and in the audio, we can hear her walking before she's afraid of something, tries to run away before she's promptly killed, and her body falls down a ravine. It then says her body was found in the Grand Canyon in 2004, and her head was still missing. Okay, so this episode probably connected a lot of dots for you, or at the very least it did for me. So the government, or Maze, or whatever body of people, are hiding something in the Grand Canyon. They get these ancient warriors, known as the Guardians, who are using this special material called Giza glass to be the Guardians for whatever they have. After it was discovered that Freedom was one of these Guardians, she was also in the Grand Canyon. Maya, who we
Fucking
know has spent her entire
motherfucker.
life trying to out evils, out Maze for their evils, goes looking for whatever this is in the Grand Canyon, and she's
Fucking
killed by the
bitch.
Guardian. So,
Fucking
as we
stupid
understand
fucking
how
whore.
it has to work, her head swells up to this giant size to which she has to take the vinegar stuff in order to get it to shrink. It's not understood how much of her brain capacity transfers from human to meatball crown thing, but probably not the best. So she's essentially one of these mindless crowns who the only purpose she has is to lure other dissenters.
Oh, for Christ's fucking sake, you stupid fucking whore. God, you're a fucking bitch. Whatever, bitch.
Big meatball thing, she says, I think that was Maya. And we get further confirmation of that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Father opens with the return of the most important character in the entire series. That's right, Mr. Squirrel. The video is back in the traditional Maze movie maker style, and then from the text that we see on screen, we can deduce that this is Lauren, the daughter of Nathaniel. However, in the text, we see that Lauren's father has passed away.
Fuck it, I don't even fucking care. You know what, I need to fucking eat, and you can fuck off, people.
However, she mentions that something
Like, seriously, I need to fucking eat.
Before, as she's hiding, this giant shadow appears over the window. This is all while text is being displayed on the screen, saying that she won't forget her father and that it's been 3 days. Finally, it ends with the message Nathaniel Arnoldson, July of 1961 to May of 2021. So Nathaniel has passed away for some reason, and now Lauren is making this video. However, as she mentioned, something from the Grand Canyon followed her home, and sure enough, there is a giant shadow that appears over the window from above, implying that it's floating down. This is more than likely Aunt Maya following her home from the Grand Canyon. To me, this implies that she at least kept some of her brain function, or enough to recognize that that was her niece. And while her communication skills may not be present, it seems that she's trying to reach out to Lauren. And continuing the trend of tying up loose ends and making more things make sense, we have Rockefeller Revelation. Rockefeller Revelation opens up with the same movie maker style as before, saying that their dad has been dead for 3 months and now they're going to continue his work, before it says Dr. Disturbing presents. This is now the 3rd video in season 2 made by Dr. Disturbing, and the fact the only passed away father that we know of is Nathaniel, and the fact that it opens in the movie maker font we're used to, I'm going to safely make the assumption that Dr. Disturbing is one of Nathaniel's kids. Now, since it sounds like a guy's voice doing the narration for the Dr. Disturbing parts, I'm going to say, and this also looks better on a timeline graph, that Lauren's brother is Dr. Disturbing. Now, Dr. Disturbing could also be an alias for the two of them together, and her brother just does the narration parts. In fact, that's more than likely what it is, considering the movie maker style we see Lauren using is the one that transfers into the Dr. Disturbing style. However, he doesn't have a name, and he's at least doing the narration, so I'm just going to call him Lauren and Dr. D. And from Dr. D, we see something called the Rockefeller Tapes, Part 7. In the story, we hear an interview from John D. Rockefeller and the time that he visited Germany, and they named their airships after him. Now, I've got an entire chart up there that you can probably see the corner of right now that I'm going to use to explain the whole timeline of everything. But for now, I will mention that from my maths that I put together, that John D. Rockefeller was president beginning in 1909, which would have been before World War I. So it seems this description that he's giving is pre-World War I, or in other words, the ships that you're going to figure out he built right here in a second were used during the Great War. We're then given a diagram of these airships where everything looks fine at first, until we see the interior, and that pretty much the entire inside is a giant face with whatever this growth is behind it. Rockefeller explains that due to his setup of having guardians turn people into crowns within the Grand Canyon, that there was an overabundance of crowns. At the same time, America was risking going into a Great Depression.
No, I don't want that fucking shit. Stupid fucking whore.
Sell the crowns as slaves to Germany. Or essentially, crowns can't fight back and don't have the capacity to know what they're doing, so you can just give them to the Germans to use for their war machine. We then see a design for an anti-airship death ray, and after looking over the schematics for it, all seems well, until we see the inside of it, and there's whatever this fang tooth thing is that seems to be the power of it. Not only that, but at another part of the diagram, there is a lamp mentioned, implying that these are in some form beings of light or energy. Further, in Rockefeller's interview, he explains that the American economy was dying and Germany wanted to use these crowns as weapons. So Rockefeller sold over 100 of these crowns to Germany, who then put them in their airships and named the airships Rockefellers in his honor. Germany did help the American economy. However, as Rockefeller says, by 1918, thousands of people had been killed by Rockefeller ship bombings, and Rockefeller's presidency ended before he could respond to the German attack. So Rockefeller, who we established a couple episodes ago, gathered all of the Giza glass in order to make these swords that the Guardians then used to make crowns, took those crowns and began selling them as weapons to people who eventually became enemies of the United States. It's never expressly said what the crowns do. I mean, initially I thought, giant meatball heads running through the battlefield are probably a pretty effective psychological weapon, if nothing else. However, these things are inside of blimps, and he says used to bomb people. So maybe they can release energy bombs. The first thing that comes to mind is the orbs that we're seeing at the beginning of Giza Guardian, not Giza Guardian, and Starry's Phoenix that come out of the plane and sort of blow up. Maybe the crowns can do that. I don't know, but they were effective as a weapon for some reason. We then see a diagram of something called Operation Pyramid Plasma, which shows several men bringing one of the aforementioned anti-airship death rays to the top of the pyramid. It then shoots down the airship, showing that whatever this death ray is, it seems to work against the crowns inside of the airship. In the final part of Rockefeller's interview, he says that the American public has now figured out that he had a hand in the Germans bombing an airship program and essentially want him dead. We then cut back to the operation, where it shows us that after this death ray was fired, the energy disintegrated the men standing near the death ray. Eventually, after wandering through the desert, all of them reform as one entity before traveling back to their homeland, aka the United States, and getting retaliation or vengeance on the person that caused this. We then see that on May 23rd of 1937, Rockefeller entered a bunker underneath the plaza and was never seen again. However, there is the note that the door was melted by a massive heat ray. And then to make it even more interesting, it says that there has only ever been 2 images of this suspect, to which the 2 images we see are the first Christmas before Rockefeller found the special tree, and the very first picture ever taken of the special tree in 1840. Okay, so that happened. So we got all the stuff about Rockefeller, was selling crowns to the Germans, funded the German war machine, etc. But the cool part, at least the coolest part to me, is all these soldiers who were standing near the death ray got atomized and then reformed as one creature that somehow managed to travel all the way across the ocean and then immediately get revenge on Rockefeller. That whole never seen again thing is because that guy got blasted into like neutrons. That mention of the bunker door was melted open is because this amalgamation of 20 fried atom people all showed up once like Dr. Manhattan and just like took his door off his hinges and made him non-existent. I am referring to this creature as the Avogadro. And yes, I'm referring to it as that because of
You fucking whore.
Black Ops 2 zombies.
God.
On my channel, I can do what I want. So this Avogadro gets revenge on the person who created the crowns within the Zeppelins, and also most likely the death ray itself. Also, the two pictures that it appears in are also very interesting because the one of the plaza is 1933 or 1934, and the one of the special tree is 1840. So this creature is not only able to travel across the oceans or possibly teleport, it's also a time traveler. And he's very upset at the people who killed him, rightfully so. And I'm going to continue referring to him as the Avogadro. So there's an electric man that has the power to melt bunker doors and turn people to ash running around. I also want to remind you this is the same series where a living statue that skins people and George Washington are also running around, and James Dean's the president. This is the best. I love this. We have now reached what is, to date, the final episode of the series, although there will be more, Washington Wonderland. I also want to go ahead and preface that this one ties up a lot of loose ends and starts a whole lot of other ones, so par for the course. The video opens with a message that after an unsuccessful lobotomy, Virginia Arnold story of the Rockefeller Tree tragedy. So there's Julia again, a girl who has been the Rockefeller Tree tragedy and how she went in Wonderland. And something that may have not been popular, Disney does now. Somehow Virginia is related to Maya and Nathaniel, and this series to one connected story. Virginia says that after the events of Rockefeller,
Oh, you fucking doggy.
all of their parents believed them to be doppelgangers. However, when they got older, the military took all the boys and the doctors took all of the girls, leaving Virginia by herself. She then begins to describe in better detail what happened to her within Wonderland. Initially, she was laying there on the ground, and she looked around and saw the aforementioned forest of special trees. However, when she looked up,
Oh, you
she
fucking
realized
bitch.
that the tree mirrored itself. Or in other words, at the top of the tree, there was another tree directly above it that was facing the opposite direction. The tops of both trees were touching. That
Keep talking, motherfuckers. These people just don't stop.
The best way to describe this is whenever you place two mirrors across from each other and see an infinite reflection with each other reflection looking the same way. She looked beneath her and saw the exact same scenario. As a matter of fact, the ground she was on wasn't even ground, but a thin layer of powder that smelled like baby powder. All around her were flashes of light, and out of these flashes of light, men came running from every direction. One of these men came out of a flash of light and told her that the trees aren't trees. Before saying the line, "You could be her. Anyone could be her. I won't leave you." Suddenly another flash comes and the two of them appear in a field. Then another flash and they're somewhere else. Every few seconds another flash takes place that they can't control, and every time that they flash to somewhere, they're doing something else. Virginia describes that this went on for years and years. Initially she was sad, then she became angry, and eventually just tired, like the man with her. She decided to name this man Everett, and Everett never left her side. It's never even said if the two of them ever had a real conversation or were just stuck in this infinite loop of flashing from place to place, but it seems Virginia just cherished having someone there. Also, during those flashes, they would switch from one
Oh, man.
In other words, one flash, they could be standing at the layer Virginia began at, and then be one stage above them, then another stage above, and then back down again. Also, there were several people referred to as climbers who were stretched out and scorched along the side of trees. Virginia believed that if someone had tried to climb up a tree whenever they were flashed, this is what would happen to them. This went on for years until one day, all of the trees bent over at once and there was a great flash, and she woke up back in New York in the plaza with her friends. This is the scene that Virginia woke up to in the original Rockefeller tree tragedy. She says that when she turned 18, she left the orphanage, and her dad was dead, and her mom was so paranoid because of the events that happened. Eventually, Virginia, fed up with her life and deciding that she's an imposter in this world, decides to go back to the plaza to find some answers. When she gets there, she sees the special tree hanging at the top of a building at the plaza. This, mind you, is very similar to John Rockefeller Jr.'s account, saying that he still sees the tree in the plaza and it looks like a man. Virginia speaks to the tree, and the tree tells her to come back in 3 years and she'll have to exchange one life for her own. This message of coming back in 3 years loops 3 times over. I'm not going to go into the details of it right now, but for now, let's just assume that it's been 9 years since Virginia initially approached the tree. She says during these 9 years, she met a secret agent who was a very important man, who eventually approached her and said that he was assigned to protect her. She says that the man's name was Leonard. She had never loved anyone before.
Oh my gosh.
Felt welcome in his presence, and the two of them had a son together. The son was never born, but she decided to name him Everett after the man she met in Wonderland. After the end of this 9 years, and with her very pregnant with her son Everett, Virginia goes back to the tree, who gives her directions. After walking for 4 days, she hears the music and comes across the Washington Monument. After stepping into the monument, she sees that there are bodies everywhere. However, the music is so calming that she doesn't seem to mind. She gets into the elevator that was mentioned in the Washington Standard operation, and once she's risen to the top, the music paralyzes her, again something that can be seen in the operation, before the ground drops out from the elevator and she falls and hits the floor. When she hits the floor, her body stops, but she feels her soul keep going. She says she floats for what feels like 500 years before she appears back in her body. However, this body is slightly different than the one that she was in. Not only that, but she was no longer pregnant. Virginia believes that whenever the tree told her she'd have to exchange one life for her own, Virginia was ready to give up her own life, but did not realize that she had exchanged Everett's life for her own. However, just like the body that she had passed out of, this body too had just fallen from the top of the DC monument and was completely crushed, meaning she was unable to move. However, Virginia came to realize that herself, as well as everyone else within the monument, was all still alive, even though logistically they should be dead from the fall they endured. The music kept everyone paralyzed and alive, and in excruciating pain as they bled out onto the ground over the course of several years. It seems, according to her, that the tree within the monument was keeping them alive for some reason. This was until one day there was a great flash and everyone woke up outside. Whenever they woke up outside, they were in a field of those trees. Helicopters appeared and picked everyone up. The helicopter told Virginia that the year was 2003, and everything she knew had been wrong. After Virginia tells those that she came to know in her false life sorry, she then asks that whoever's reading this may remember her, for the text says that she however she drew this artwork depicting how she wanted her life to be. It finally ends with the message that Virginia Arnoldson passed away in 1980 at the age of 59. And we are then given the message her son Everett is the 20th Washington absentee. And that is the end, at the moment, of the monument mythos. So, to try to digest everything I just read, it seems that whenever Virginia passed into Wonderland at the tree tragedy, it wasn't the quick, oh, I was in Wonderland, then I was back at the plaza thing that it originally seemed to be. Yet to her was the course of 7 years. And we'll get into all the theories and what it could mean and how this happened later. But she met a man named Everett who took care of her in the best way someone can, just being a companion, before she came back to the plaza, and then after many years of her life, met with the tree that sent her to the Washington Monument. Now we know the Washington Monument feeds on people that come through it. We saw this with the Civil War prisoners. We saw this with the Anti-Dean Association members who were sent to camps that were located around monuments. We saw this with the Civil War prisoners. We saw this with the Anti-Dean Association members who were sent to the temporary prisons. And then after doing the process that several others had, she left one body and wound up in another. Now, as you probably picked up from the dates mentioned at the end, it seems like there are two Virginias. Because remember, it says one died in 1980 at the age of 59, and the other one was alive and picked up by helicopters in 2003. As a matter of fact, that's not the only instance of something like that happening. Remember how Maya Arnoldson in One World showed up in a report from 1977 that got leaked that says she was killed by freedom? However, in the other timeline, she was her brother exposing Maze after the Maze movie maker was built in the year 2000. Also, that final line, her son Everett was the 20th Washington absentee. However, it says only 19 people were recovered. And just to make everything even more confusing and far out there, this is in the description of Washington Wonderland. Everett Arnoldson, commonly referred to as the 20th Washington absentee, is a humanoid creature that is purported to inhabit the forest of the Washington Zone. Have you ever seen Everett? What? So Virginia was pregnant with Everett whenever she took the plunge and then was transported from one body to the other. This explains why in the Washington wormhole video, it says all 19 of the absentees were recovered, specifically leaving out Everett because he was never recovered, even though he was identified in the description of that video as the 20th Washington absentee. Also, that's what I meant then by it's such a mind blow, because after I finished the series, I went back and watched Washington Wormhole, and seeing in the description and in the video that that was accounted for over a year ago blew my mind. It was fantastic. But even though Everett was never recovered, despite being identified as the 20th absentee, here in the description we see that he's a humanoid creature that roams about in the forest. And I do have a theory on why that may be. Is it a good theory? Probably not. But now with that, we have finally, I have no idea what this is going to cut down into the video. I've been talking about this for 3 hours now. This is going to be a long one. But there's still 4 sections left. It's things to pull out I didn't catch till a second watch. There is the important characters. There is a linear timeline. And then there's theories about it. And also the way that I want the rest of this to be structured. If you're interested in watching the whole thing, you should probably watch this next part next. But I've got timestamps in the description for each piece. So if you hear me talk about stuff I caught on a second watch and want to go straight to theory.
To the difference between monism versus dualism. This is what things like Kabbalah and other Gnostic traditions mean when they talk about emanations, right? That we're not actually separate creations of an eternal God, but we're just emanations of God. We're just the universe itself is God in itself.
Yield farmers are printing anywhere between 50 to 300% by simply clicking a few buttons. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain and teach you how we're quietly helping billionaires multiply their wealth faster than any other time in history. So how are we printing money on autopilot? We're using an innovation called decentralized finance, otherwise known as DeFi. In traditional finance, aka the old world, banks are required to provide cash for markets.
What did my phone say?
But DeFi, there are no banks, because individuals like you are the bank. This means if you're early, you can make intergenerational wealth, just like a bank. I'll put it this way. If you start participating early, that's a good thing. This confuses, but by the end of this video, I'll demystify it to the point where even a 5-year-old can do it. For now, there's 3 things you need to understand. 1, DeFi is the most innovative trend to hit finance in the last 100 years. 2, yield farming, aka lending, is the most lucrative opportunity within DeFi if you're early. And 3, opportunities like this come around once per century. So click the link below and watch it now. Your future self will thank you. I'll see you over there.
Can artificial intelligence make you money in 2022? Well, check out this AI bot that I've been using. In the past 14 hours, it's made $4,250 for me. Now, here's another bot that I set up just 11 days ago, and it's made me over $3,000. So the answer is yes. Artificial intelligence can absolutely make you money in 2022. Do you want to know how it works? Follow me. It's actually...
Hey guys, how are you? Click on my channel. I am Unstoppable. This is my channel. We healing over here, unconventionally. How are you? I love you guys. Good morning or good evening, wherever you're listening from. Good evening to Australia. I got your message. That was amazing. I love you guys. Thank you for all your support on my channel. Thank you for your donation. If you would like to donate to my channel, there's a link for PayPal in the description box, or you can cash at me at BillyStoppable369. Okay. Let's see what we're going to get into today. Okay, Archangel Michael, please protect me and those listening with your light while I receive these messages and leave out any negative energy that would attempt to prevent me from doing so. All right, let's see what's going on, you guys. I love you guys.
Thank you for joining me on the channel, Mazra. On this channel, I do intuitive, creative readings. So if you find the title and it resonates for you, go ahead and give it a shot. Make sure you guys continue to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, as well as turn on that bell notification, so that way you'll know when I release new content. Now, with all of that, thank you for joining me on the channel, Mazra. On this channel, I do intuitive, creative messages. So if you find the title and it resonates for you, go ahead and give it a shot. I do want to thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my page. Honestly, it means a lot to me. So make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button, as well as turn on your bell notifications, so that way you'll know when I release new content. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's reading. Let me just put it like this. Whoever I am talking to, okay, in the moment right now, you may be emotional. You may feel like something is not fair. You may feel like something was done in error. You may feel like you got all the blame, okay, things like that when it pertains to a court situation or just in life in general. You know, I feel like, you know, whoever I'm talking to, you're looking for a little bit of empathy. You're looking for somebody to sympathize with what you went through. Because I feel like, you know, you've been trapped in a situation. And I do feel like it has something to do with your home, with your livelihood. So something of the material.
If you shop on Amazon, you should use this tool. It's a browser extension that automatically compares Amazon to other sellers to see if there's a...
Okay, things like that. It could even be in a relationship. What I'm getting here is something was done in error, and it's not fair because you got all the blame in the situation. Okay, now you could have broke a lease. Here is the vibe that I'm getting. You could have separated from someone because a masculine, a king of wands, somebody that was supposed to be a leader in your life, in your business. Okay, I feel like you didn't do a lot of research on this person, but this person could have ghosted you. Is the vibe that I'm getting. Okay, this person was a coward. Even if this was in the past, okay, even if this is a roommate take it however resonates.
God bless you. It is time to study. It's time to learn. I hope you've been keeping your eyes open. Don't get deceived, for it is a trap. You see, it's like boxing. I don't know if you ever heard the term rope-a-dope. It's where you come in with one thing in that fight, but really you're gearing up, ready for the pay. So the person, they're like, oh, he's coming with that jab, and I'm going to focus on that jab, but really it's what's actually coming they're not prepared for, and it's that puts them down. And you're probably thinking, what is this man even speaking? But you're going to want to listen to this study. Oh, this study is a big one. And there's so much going on right now. And there isn't much time. So, of what time there is, we must study. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware of the Swedish company with its chip it brought out for a certain status, so that people could prove something in Sweden, that they had a certain something. Now, on top of this, these can be scanned by phones with NFC. Now, phones use NFC to make payments and sending data in other ways. At the same time this is going on, there's now in New Delhi, the finance minister of the government has a rollout of a new e-passport to be implemented in 2022 to 2023 using biometric data. It's to enhance security and travel, and it will be using RFID with biometrics. On top with this, there is a company that uses the microchip in its employees, and they have 150 employees. Now, I couldn't find the name of this company on this, but do you know what they're using these chips for? They can monitor their staff for employees' toilet breaks. They are looking at how long they are working. They are looking at the whereabouts of their employees. Now, Sweden and the land with the creepy, sleepy child sniffer are voluntarily offering these chips. They're available to the people and businesses. Now, I don't know if you're aware of 2014, when Bill Gates was funding a birth control chip that could be implemented into the body and it would last 16 years. Now, if that can be remote controlled by a phone, and if the new technology in the towers can control those chips, who's going to have the power to turn them on and off? And anything else they may implement into a person to do what they want them to do. The same as there is now even more videos on the black-eyed babies, but I digress. Everyone has been supporting the truckers. But I tell you this, how many companies have now folded because they don't have their stock to sell? The mama and papa stores, the independents, how many are now gone? But I tell you this, how many big companies are still standing? You ever wondered why? Think about it. You take out the little ones, so only the big ones remain. It's like that movie, what was it called? Demolition Man, where the whole world, all the finest restaurants were Taco Bell. Because everything went and only one company remained standing. And it's those big ones that will control everything. Now, if all the little ones are gone and you can only buy from one that owns all, they will control how you buy it, when you buy it, and if you can buy it and how you'll be allowed to. Do you understand what I'm saying without me saying it? Now, have you heard what this Ukraine MP has said? The one that says that to fight for Ukraine, to fight with them in their battle, is to fight for the new world order. The whole world is villainizing a certain man, the leader of the other nation, the bear that rises. But let's have a quick look in the book of Daniel. And we're going to go chapter 7 in Daniel. Didn't realize I'd be going back here, but we go where we are to go. Verse 1. No, verse 2. My apologies. Verse 2, chapter 7 of Daniel. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. So the winds of heaven upon the sea, and we start to see these beasts come out. Now, what does it say in verse 5? And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said, thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Now, it's been told to arise and to devour flesh, so who's told it? What did verse 1 say? That the winds of heaven are there blowing upon, and in verse 3, the 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another, so they're all different. These 4 beasts, these different kingdoms. The first was like a lion and had eagle wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. So the wings are taken away. And it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And look, this second one, the bear, and another, as I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, you'd have to look into the history of France and the wings and the bird, and also if you want to look at NATO and its symbol with wings. And then as I saw in the night visions, and beheld a 4th beast, a dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. O Lord, blessed be your holy name. For we see the things that come before us. Iron teeth, something that devours, utterly terrible and corrupt and utterly wicked, diverse from all others, and it will trample the residue. We think of a certain something, iron mixed with clay that does not mix. And the doctor is no longer here to speak what he warned. He said a certain, in that, something the size of single atom, tiny, that you won't see, as little tiny razor blades. It cuts up the inside and tears it apart. How wicked it is. This bear is rising up, and it has been told to devour much flesh. Now I cannot speak on these 3 ribs. This can mean in many ways, but one thing I do think that is interesting is 3 ribs and a 3rd World War. Something great, something powerful, devour much flesh. We're in birth pangs. Beyond this, there is far more. This is a battle against the New World Order. Do not be caught up in the support of men, for it is God we focus on first. And we call out to God, your will be done for every nation, for every kingdom. That your will be done on this earth. That you deliver your people, guide your people, strengthen your people. That we do not crumble and shake and cower at what is to come. For nation against nation and kingdom, These are things that must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So stand faithful. Oh, what happened with British Columbia as it's now extended its special passport system to June 22nd. And these are for people of 12 years and above. And then what's happened in the States? 21 of them have put across a smart health card. It's a credential initiative for digital proof of a certain something. And there are more states that are going to be rolling it out soon. A further 4 so far are confirmed. On top of this, the WHO, that big medical place, has signed a contract with T-Systems for a digital system specifically for certificates for this and QR codes for this, so they can be checked across national borders. Now, there's already 60 countries using the T-System certificate. The WHO wants this globally. This isn't over. Things are going on. War is on the horizon. And there is so much, and right now everyone is watching between Ukraine and Russia, and the people are rising up saying, oh, we're all for such and such, we're all for such and such, and everyone's praising such and such. But one of their MPs says to fight with them is to fight for the new world order. And you know what that is. And you know they will implement through one man that will lead all. Things are coming into place. It's Lego, placing the foundations, scaffolding being laid up so that things can be built. Things are being built piece by piece, stage by stage. The same as in March, they're unrolling a new something. The Xenobot, the Frog Cell, the Nano mixed together. A robot that can breed and replicate itself. There's much wickedness coming. All these things coming. But I tell you, do not fear, do not worry. For let's go and look at Scripture and be strengthened by God and know that there is hardship ahead. But we do not fear, for we have God to lead us every step of the way. So come into Psalms and we'll go to chapter 27. For we know all that happens must happen. But we will not worry, for the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life.
Good Lord.
Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock, and now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. When thou saidst, seek ye my face. My heart said unto thee, thy face, Lord, will I seek. Hide not thy face far from me, but not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help, leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Though we go through much, we shall not fear. Though enemy be left, right, and center, God is there to give us strength in our weakness, to give us courage when we are weary, to lead us, for he is our King. For as Psalm 29, verse 10 and 11, the Lord sitteth upon the flood, yea, the Lord sitteth King forever. The Lord will give strength unto his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. And I will trust in that peace, the peace that only Jesus can bring. I will trust in God while I see all these things happening. I will trust in God while those I come to persecute. I will trust in God while those come and mock. I will trust in God while hardship comes against me. While my body fades, I will trust in God. While my energy decreases, I will trust in God. While I am ravaged by pain and devices of wicked technology, I will trust in God. For I know how they that do wickedness shall be repaid. For the Lord is my foundation. For Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. To deny self, pick up one's cross, and follow him. He is the template. And all this world is but dross, and it's fading away, and it's all being destroyed. The world, they're like, oh, what do? We might lose this, we might lose that. Oh, why should I be afraid of losing it? What point is it? This ain't God's kingdom. This is the wickedness world. Look at it. It's all deception. We're all focused on what they want us to be focused on. They flood the news with what they want your minds flooded with. Why do you think something is not in the news at the moment, but something else constantly is? Look, dislike that one, dislike that one. Be divided. They're telling you what they want you to be. And then you're like, yeah, we should be divided because they said so. So then you get the pink head and they start hating themselves and everyone else. You get the penguin cucumbers rising up. The mango pineapple. The fish man, the banana woman. Far, far more. Oh, but to pray for them, for they are be but lost. Oh, Lord, show them the error, that they can see it, that they can come unto repentance and seek you to lead the way, to seek your kingdom first in your righteousness. For we cannot do it alone, but with God all is possible. So we must stand steadfast in this hardship. We must be prepared and we must be strengthened. Do not shy away from hardship, but be prepared. For it is a narrow road and a hard road, and few find it, but it leads unto eternal life. So let's go to James. We'll go to chapter 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. This world's going to say, you can't have this, and this, unless you have a certain something. Now they're implementing all this stuff in the quiet, and how many people even knew this stuff was still being implemented? Everyone's been told, oh, they're doing away with this, and this. It's to give you a false sense of security, and then hang on, keep them worried and focused on that. So now they're looking at the war. Let's keep them worried and focused on that. So now they're not looking at what they implement quietly. The same as they put things through and they make it look like a good thing, but really it's about something else. They're saying, oh, we're going to implement more ways for security to make sure minors cannot look at inappropriate things online by having to have a recognition system, a facial-based one. That means devices being able to look at you openly, to recognize and verify all that, to be able to access certain sites that you talk to others on, so they can recognize you and let you give your rights away, that they can know who you talk to and when you talk.
Like the future of our
want
democracy.
to watch everything and know everything.
Actually interact with our thoughts.
That's a great idea.
In 1966, a man named Cleve.
But I tell you, those that follow God, they won't look at that. Because those that give in unto temptation, and you are to endureth, and not give in when one is tried. For you know what it is to look with lust. Sermon on the Mount, Jesus warns. And if you haven't got past it, pray and give it unto God. Put your hands up to God and ask Him to deliver you, and not your hands down in your pants, because it's not going to help you. You need God's strength, and when you feel that temptation, you come unto prayer. God, I cannot do it alone. Take this cup from me. Let not this temptation be mine. Purify me from all this dross that I am. And in God, He is faithful to deliver you. If that temptation come 100 times, you will pray 100 times. Leave the salami and the bean alone. God will deliver. Don't give in. The devil is a prowling lion, looking for whom he may devour. And you give it unto God. You submit to God. The devil will flee from you. Resist that temptation. Don't give in. He's with you every step of the way. Be of good courage. Trust in God. Don't give up. Now, verses 2 to 4 in this book, James, chapter 1 still. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. We need to be prepared.
Thanks, dear. I'm
so
starving.
we can do every good work.
Bless you. Hey, is there a
Going
soda?
through
There's
those
no soda?
temptations you struggle with,
Oh, they didn't. Okay.
persevering
Yeah,
through
that was,
them,
it's okay.
overcoming them,
No problem, man.
Christ.
Take care.
Not giving in to them, not being weakened by them. Whatever they may be, maybe you have a temper, maybe you struggle with addiction, maybe you like to drink, whatever it may be, give it to God.
It's dinner time. Oh my God, dinner. I'm so hungry.
God is always faithful to answer. So seek Him wholeheartedly, and now across James chapter 5, 11. Behold,
Beanie, what's the matter with my bear guy?
You've heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord. Pitiful.
I'm so hungry.
Tender mercy.
Amen for Burger King. Amen for DoorDash. Yummy, yummy. Tammy went hungry. I spent my last dime to eat, but I needed to eat. I can't just go out and get what I need because, well, people like Aunt Bernie.
God has mercy on us. Blessed be those that are poor in spirit.
You notice she's just fine.
Continue on, be strengthened, remain steadfast.
Hi.
Let God's work be in you.
She's commenting on my Facebook. Yeah. Oh yeah. She's not angry at all.
Rejoice with them.
Oh no, she's my friend.
With them that...
She's my friend. Doesn't bother her a bit that I'm exposing all of her lies. She's my friend. She's my friend. Bernie's my friend. She's my fucking best friend. Bernie's my damn friend. Oh, yeah. I'm going to dress up later today like my Facebook pictures and take more. I clean up pretty okay, you know.
If I get messages, I'm gonna deliver them just like I'm delivering them now. So we are in this together. Trust me, I ain't going nowhere. I might be gone for a minute. I'm not our home still.
Bunny Bear, I sure do love you. One thing is for sure, Bean, I frickin' love you. Does Beanie want some dinner? Mama could share dinner with Bean. I would be happy to share dinner with my Bean. Because he's my guy. He's my really guy. He's my really, really, really guy. He's my really various guy. There it is. That's good kind. Really good kind.
Yeah, like, I thought it was against the law to ride with your headlights on. Everybody in America, everybody in my cities ride with their headlights on. Everybody got one light and they have been lighted out. They ride around like this. Some people got they back brake lights. They got one red light and one clear light. You know, yellow, whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Your lights. So it's weird, you know what I'm saying? And I've been telling y'all about this. Everybody got 10 windows. Everybody car wrecked. Everybody got. I seen a UPS truck with blue tape over the number on the bottom of the truck, and I got a picture, and I'm gonna send it to y'all. I'm gonna put it on here. They got. If somebody tried to hack my account and erase some of my pictures, but guess what? I got backup pictures, so ain't no need to try to do that, baby. I still got the pictures. Whoever did that, you know what I'm saying? I still got pictures, so ain't no sense in trying to hack my shit because my pictures gone. But I still got another phone with my pictures in, so you ain't did shit. You ain't stopped shit, and I ain't letting none die. But the police sitting right here next to these people, and this police officer see that these people got a yellow light and a red light for their brake light. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ran around with one headlight. This shit just got to stop. Y'all out here purging. Y'all out here purging and committing all these heinous crimes and I'm talking about the fire trucks, even the truck, even even regular rig trucks. You know what I'm saying? FedEx trucks. Everybody in the city, they driving U-Haul trucks. Everybody in the city with loud cars and shit. Everybody is a part of this. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? A part of this fiasco. I'm talking about everybody is a part of it. A part of with the gang stalking. You know what I'm saying? It's got to stop. This is getting out of hand. And why are the police letting it go on? And it's some young police officers. Y'all should know better. Y'all gonna lose y'all job. Y'all young police officers, y'all out here. You know what I'm saying?
Benny's
right along with the gang stalkers. Because I'm telling you, everywhere I go, a police officer gonna follow me. Either one or two, they gonna follow me. They're gonna be in the vicinity. They rolling down the street, racing too. You know what I'm saying? They right with these people, and they supposed to be protecting and serving. They supposed to be protecting and serving. They're not doing it. It's not what y'all doing.
It's not
you know what I'm saying?
Me.
But guess what? All this shit finna come to an end real soon. So you get ready for it. And I don't care about y'all hating me because y'all call me a whistleblower, whatever you want. I don't give a fuck what you call me. It don't matter.
Amen, Mama.
I'm here to protect and serve too. Humanity.
Me too, baby.
The universe. Listen, y'all. Ever since I woke up, I can't even litter. I can't drop nothing on the ground. It just ain't in me. I can't do it. Like my purpose here is to spread my light. You know what I'm saying? To wake as many people up as possible.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing.
I sure love you, Beanie Boy. You sure are a hungry little guy.
It doesn't even matter because this shit has got to stop. And it's ridiculous. Even my family and friends, y'all think I don't know what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? Don't come around me. And if you come around me, don't come around me with no one headlights and shit. Because I'm going to blast your ass. I don't care. You could be my first cousin. I don't give a damn if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you do the crime, you need to do the time.
Amen, Mama. I love you.
Personally, I don't give a damn.
I love you, baby.
If I do a crime, I need
to
do
the best,
time.
Mama.
And it just how it works. You know what I'm saying? That's the law of the land. Y'all not bad about the law of the land.
I love you, Mama.
Get rid of y'all, and it just be real.
I love you, Mama.
You know what I'm saying? Because look, for real, man. Y'all around her riding these kids in the car, or y'all speeding, y'all having wrecks. I don't give a damn because y'all have a wreck around me. It doesn't matter. They don't fear me. I'm not scared. Y'all just had a wreck around me the other day. I'm talking about smack two on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how y'all think I'm supposed to feel about it, but that's y'all dumb ass, not me. That's not gonna make me stop riding. That's not gonna make me not do what I'm gonna protect myself, of course. But it's y'all. That's something y'all got to deal with. Y'all got to take that up with the Lord, because there is a God.
Minnie, you are
Whether
so
you believe
funny.
it or not, there is a God, and there are consequences.
Bean
You're
is
gonna be
funny,
dealt with.
boy.
But I
He
just see
likes that
ambulances, I
guy.
see fire trucks, everybody doing the same
Bean is
thing.
a
Fire
sucker for
truck keep going up and
cheeseburgers.
down the street, ain't nothing wrong. But they
Oh,
get
this
the
Bean's
light.
very
Ain't
favorite
nothing even wrong.
burger
You know what I'm
cheese.
saying? But that's what they doing.
Burger, brick, and cheese.
This shit has gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop with this one headlight shit. Cause y'all what is y'all look foolish as hell. Just to let y'all know, y'all look so ridiculous, dumb. Y'all some cunts. Y'all look dumb as hell to me. All this shit dumb to me. Y'all need to do better than what y'all doing, man. Cause these kids, man, is our future. And they look just like I was a child. And they look at me now, I am the future. Look at me sitting here trying to expose y'all ass. I'm trying to get rid of y'all ass because y'all ain't serving no purpose here on earth. And if you're not serving no purpose here on earth, then you need to be gone. Point blank period. That's all I'm saying. Point blank period. But it's just weird to me that the police is seeing what's going on and they not doing nothing about it. They're not. And then, matter of fact, they in it too.
Weird to me.
I seen the police went here like they all in it too.
So fucking used
you know what I'm
to
saying? Like I said, I seen the UPS truck with the blue tape across their car. They Masons. You know what I'm saying? A GD1 on, but they got the blue tape around they up on their car. Just like some gang rivalry shit, which y'all got going on. And y'all need to cut this shit out, man. Rex, y'all having Rex and Rex back to back. That's gonna be y'all fate. I'm telling y'all to open up Pandora's box. Everything's out in the open now.
Yep,
you know what I'm saying? It's like the black magic that y'all did. It got sent out to the it's on the earth. It's just fucked up, man. It's fucked up how this shit going. But I know as much as y'all hate it, it's about to come to an end. It's about to be a new earth. You know what I'm saying? It's coming to an end. I know as much as y'all hate it, it's about to come to an end. It's back on the earth. It's just fucked up, man. It's fucked up how this shit going, but I know as much as y'all hate it, it's about to come to an end. It's about to be a new earth. You know what I'm saying? It's coming to an end. It is. It is. You know, much as you don't like it, much as you don't like me. I'm the most hated right now, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't care.
Homeowners, meet LeafGuard, the only one-piece gutter system guaranteed to never clog no matter the weather. What makes LeafGuard the best? A debris-shedding wraparound hood system that keeps...
Yep.
Hello, my pretties. How are you guys? I have a quick message for you. ThePrettyOracle.com, so just like that right there is where you're going to be able to find the things that I have to offer you guys. My spiritual baths and my bundles are most popular. If you're going through a particular situation and you need help with it, okay, you can look on there and see if you find a bundle that matches, what it is that you're going through. Like,
whoa, what the fuck was that?
Candles. You'll get directions, instructions, cleansing items and things that will help you along on your journey, okay? And help you to fix that particular problem that you're going through. If you don't see particular, something that you need in particular, like that's, specific to your situation, what you could do is send me an email, all right?
Thank you for joining me on the channel, Mazra. On this channel, I do intuitive, creative, like I'm talking to a biological female. Of course, you do not have to be. You can definitely be feminine energy. Just take whatever resonates for you and leave what doesn't. This is honestly a sad story. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. This is like Sodom and Gomorrah energy or what. But I'm just going to read what I see. So, like I said, take what resonates for you and leave what doesn't. I see a man that's out. He's having drinks. He's living it up. Like I'm seeing like cheers. It's reminding me of that song by Jay-Z, like Rock Boys. This masculine, he's really energized. Okay, there's something about the throat chakra, the heart chakra. Those things are aligned. Like this male, even though he's celebrating being able to speak from the heart, and he's with a bunch of friends. Okay, but I also feel like these friends, they are competitory in nature. There's some type of competition going on in this male's life. But nonetheless, these friends and him, they have some type of secret alliance. There's a secret agreement, though, outside of this male and his friends, which is his competitory nature or whatever, and they're out celebrating, they're having drinks. there's an agreement between this male and this female, but I almost see this female as masculine. This feminine energy, this female could actually be a male, not necessarily, or this feminine energy, this female, you guys, I'm so tongue-tied, could have masculine energy. Okay, I hope that came out right. I don't know. But anywho, there is some type of secret agreement because this person, okay, this person, they're just like these friends. So what I mean is, remember I said this person is out being able to speak from the heart, having a drink, they're celebrating, being able to speak from the heart, being able to speak freely. But they're having drinks, they're celebrating with this group of people, these three people, this three energy, okay? But they have some type of secret connection. They have something that they can't. They have something that they can't really talk about out in public. You guys, there's so much going on right now.
There is.
Outside of my window, you can hear confirmation. My son. Anywho, this male and this female, they have some type of secret arrangement. There's something like some type of oath that they can't speak about. And I feel like it has a lot to do with whoever I'm talking to. It has a lot to do with this female. Now, this feminine energy, I do feel like this is a maiden energy. This is that light maiden that I was talking about in that one reading that they accused you unfairly. An empress. This is a light maiden. And this light maiden, I feel like this person is really, really sad. This person is not a prostitute. This person was betrayed by their parent, by their mother, by their father. This person honestly could have been an orphan, not necessarily taken out of resonates, right? But this person was sent in by this person to be like to be an offering. So I want to talk about a vision that I had a couple of days ago, and it was really ritualistic. I saw a woman. She was dressed to the nines, but I could tell that that wasn't her. Like, those weren't her clothes. They like dressed her up, right? It's like Belle energy. They dressed her up for the ball. Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, taking out resonates, and she was laying on this bed, but it was flat. It was hard surface. Okay, but everything was beautiful. There were candles. They were all white. Everything was white in this room. It looked like the Middle Ages. But this feminine energy, she was actually pregnant.
So scared.
This woman was pregnant. Okay.
I'll blow your head off,
pregnancy
you fucking
was not
bitch.
important to anyone. No one cared about the pregnancy. What they actually wanted was the placenta. They wanted the blood that was going to come out from this woman giving birth. And so this woman was like newly pregnant, okay? Newly pregnant. Like she had just got pregnant. And
he's affected in the
whatever. It could have been like artificial insemination or like an immaculate conception. There was something spectacular about this woman's pregnancy.
But that guy's a coward bitch.
This person, they were in the shadows. They weren't there, okay?
And
but they
I don't even
they brought this woman in for this male to drink her placenta. They needed her blood from this pregnancy. They really, really did. They did. And it was a secret agreement. This woman, it's like marrying the prostitute. There was a dichotomy, but it really wasn't. They made her out to be a prostitute. The people of the cloth, okay, whoever this was, this is like a pimp, a handler, right? But also, this person is religious, okay? This person is a mystic. This person is into spell work, okay? Like the compass, things like that, okay? But this person has really low morale. But this is a light maiden that was betrayed by the cloth, by the faith, by this parent, by this orphanage owner. Like, this person is really, really young, like 12, 13 years old. They're really, really young. Like, they haven't hit puberty yet. But they've been, like, put in these clothes to make themselves appear older, to make themselves appear sexy, okay? But the goal is actually for this male to drink the blood from that placenta. Okay, and it's a celebration. It's a celebration because these other males, these other energies, this three energy, they want to participate in this ritual as well. But I feel like they're more so in the background going like they're in the background to witness. They're in the background. I felt that vibrating all in my head. They're in the background as protection, as a shielding. Okay, but what I saw was this woman. She was giving birth, and she was sprawled out on this table, and she was decked out in all these jewels. And the male, he was acting like a doctor, like if you ever went to go get a pap smear or something like that. But he was using his fingers, and he was trying to get the blood to come out. He needed the blood to come out of this light maiden. He needed that placenta. He did not care. It was like he was going to force an abortion. He was going to force a loss of pregnancy on this woman, on this child, because he needed the blood. He needed the blood. But he gathered the blood in a cup. Like he gathered it, but it was like a funnel. Like if you've ever seen like an oil funnel, it was funneling the thing, like the stuff out. It's reminding me of like if you've ever donated blood, they it's not iron. It's like they need plasma. He needed the plasma out of the blood. It's not the blood. He needed the plasma, the life force. He needed that energy. He needed that. Okay, but this woman was sprawled out, and she was in and out of consciousness. She was in and out of consciousness, and I feel like this woman was just praying to God. But this person was honestly there. This person was there in the shadows, as a support for this woman. Now, I didn't say all of that. I've been distracted and everything because I feel like for whoever I'm talking to, there's been some type of betrayal. I definitely know I'm talking to the light maiden. I know that now. And, light maiden, you've been sit in by the cloth, by your faith, by a pastor, by someone that you spoke to about your fears, about this immaculate conception. If it's not that, it's like this is your primary doctor, but this primary doctor has made a secret oath. Okay, and you're like inner city child. You're really, really young. Okay, you're really young, and you could have just found out you're pregnant. This could have happened a long time ago. This could have happened in the future. Whatever, take out resonates. Okay, or you have some type of disease. You have something where this person is like, oh, okay, I know the answer. You need to go to this doctor, but they have a secret arrangement. It's for money. It's for profit. It's for profit, okay? They have a secret arrangement, and they're going to make you go. It's like they're going to give you a referral to go to this person. But it's all been arranged. They needed you to go to this person because this person, they need something from you. They need something out of you. Like I'm seeing like a doctor, like a gynecologist, whatever, could sexually assault a patient. Not necessarily. I just feel like this person has made an agreement with this person, and you're in the middle. You're in the middle, and you don't know about this secret agreement, okay? Mm-hmm. Secret agreement. This is definitely 32 energy, okay? And with this queen, it's definitely giving me 33 energy. It's definitely giving me 33 energy. This woman is terrified. This light maiden, whoever you are, you're terrified. You're terrified about what's going to happen to your child. You're terrified about what's going to happen to you. You don't know if you should be able to trust this person. You really, really want to. But the fact, it's like if this is like your mother or something like that, this person is like, oh, you should dress like this. You need to when you go out in public, you need to show off your girls. You need to like it's that type of thing. I don't want to say they're pimping and priming, but they're priming this woman to be sacrificed to this male. But it's not this woman. It's this woman's womb. It's the blood from her womb, but it's not menstrual. I mean, it could be, but it's blood, like a placenta. It has to be like, she has to be pregnant. In a metaphorical sense, it's like someone continuously sabotages this light maiden when she's on the pathway to something new. Because see, the thing is, God will build you up in front of those that broke you down. And that's the vibe that I'm getting. Like you were on the path to greatness. You were elevating, okay, in life, and you could have been younger than everyone else, or younger spiritually, or younger consciously. I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like, to be honest, though, it was like you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what really wanted to come out is you were in the wrong place at the right time. This feminine energy, there's something special about you. Of course, you're the light maiden. There's something special. Like you've been here and you've been there. And what I mean is that I feel like you're going to witness this thing that is happening to you. Ow, something like poked me. You're going to witness. It's like this rose has not vines. What are they called? I have it on my rose. You can't see it. Like the needles, the spiky parts. You're going to witness something. You're going to see something. And it's like what you're going to see, you can witness something about your son. You can witness your son doing this ritual. Whatever it is, you're going to witness something. Like I also see this as somebody that, but they look just alike. Like the woman that's on the table is going to witness, the woman that is on the table looks just like this woman that is going to witness what's happening to this woman. And it's like you're going to be walking past, but see, you're going to have something. It's like you're going to have leverage. But I feel like you're going to have to disappear.